Got it.
Okay. So we'd like to convene the meeting. We are going to convene the meeting at 5:37 p.m. We are missing one board member, but they are on their way. So number 2, interview and discuss applicants for board of directors vacancy.
I'm sure I pushed. So board members, you have in front of you a list of potential questions that were compiled from various board members. You also have in that same pile questions that have been used as guiding questions in the past when we've had board vacancies, as well as the Special Districts Association of Oregon characteristics of an effective board member. So that's all in front of you. A couple of housekeeping items to keep in mind. We have 7 applicants. We confirmed the date and time of the interview via email a couple of times. Any notes that you guys take during the interviews are a public record. So if you take any handwritten notes, you need to give those to me at the end of the meeting so I can include them in the record. And they become a permanent part of that record. How you conduct interviews for vacant board positions is entirely up to you. So you can decide how you want to do it. There's no right way to do it. It's completely up to the board to have that discussion. If you decide that you want to make a decision tonight, it is on the business agenda to appoint someone to the vacant position effective at the end of the December meeting. If you do not want to make a decision tonight, you either want to have additional follow-up interviews or you want to ask candidates to respond to some, I don't know, whatever the follow-up is that you need to make that decision. You can postpone that to a special meeting or to the next board meeting, which is December 15th. As always, all deliberations should be held in a noticed public meeting. So those are just some housekeeping items for you. And otherwise, it's up to you how you'd like to proceed.
So in a follow-up to that, under the board member interview guide that you gave us, I realize this is an old one, but tell us what position this is and when it expires. I noted June 30th, 2027, but what is the position number?
4. Yes.
4.
Mm-hmm. So this is position number 4, and the term will be through June 30th, 2027. This position would be added to the May election of the 2027 year, outside of its normal election cycle, if that makes sense. So we would have 3 board members on the May 2027 ballot, which is atypical. And then that position 4 will have to run again in 2029 back in its normal cycle. So the person who's appointed will serve until June 30th, 2027 for position 4. And then whoever wins position 4 in May of 27 will serve 2 additional years. So that's how the county clerk explained that.
Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Let the record show that Janelle has arrived at 5:41 p.m. Hello. Now, do we want to talk about, Jean, do we want to talk about which questions we want to ask?
Yeah.
Or
so Janelle, you haven't missed much. Well, we have a bunch of questions here that some of the board members submitted, and we're going to try to go through them and strike out the ones that kind of repeat what they're asking of the applicants and compile a shorter list. So we've numbered the bullet points, like under the governance, leadership, experience, and communication style. We've numbered the bullet points 1 through 9. So you probably need a minute to read through those and
then we can kind of discuss, maybe we want to ask question 1, skip question 2, put a line through it. And
yeah.
Let's work on 3. And then that way we can just be consistent in the questions we ask.
Narrow down.
Right, just to narrow down.
How many are we trying to get down?
Oh,
Well,
don't think we-
from, I don't know, there must be like 30 here.
Yeah.
A lot less.
Yeah,
Before we've asked like 5 or 6 questions total.
See, I feel number one is already answered in their board applicant packet.
let's strike that one then. Take that one out.
I mean, it's important, but like you said, it's already in our application.
Mhm. And when I look at 4, 7, 8, and 9, they're all similar. So which one is one that we'd like to ask?
Like number 8.
Yeah, I do too. 8 or 9 or.
Yeah.
Would be my favorites of that group. Anybody else?
8 sounds good to me.
Okay.
Strike out the 9 and 7 and 4.
Is 8 the one differentiating between both?
Do we like number 2? Do we want to take out number 2? Or do we like that one?
Well, I think if we,
Frank, I couldn't hear you. What did you think?
Do you
about
like
number
number
2?
I think that's something you learn
Keep number 2.
appointment.
I'm good with that. No,
Okay.
you share some points.
well, I was just gonna say that I think we have to narrow down in each category.
Right,
Right,
we're going to,
yeah,
Like,
right.
I so
Right.
agree.
one per section.
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah, I would think no more than 3 per section or maybe 2, like you said. You think 1? 2, 3, 4.
You're saying keep number 2 on this one? or-
Number 5 and number 8 are keepers on that section. And I think Frank's leaning towards keeping number 2.
No,
No?
that's something you're trained after your appointment.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And
So
number
keep
3, I
5
don't
and
think it's
8?
necessary either.
Number 3,
And then I think we move on to the next. section.
Okay, so we've got 5 and 8.
5 and 8.
Okay.
Yep, okay. Financial oversight and budgeting. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in there.
Yeah,
Number 3 jumped right out at me.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good one.
What did you say about number 1?
I think it's getting into the weeds. I don't know.
Okay.
number 3 is good. I like number 2 also, but 3 is good.
And then looking
What
at
about
4,
number
5, and
4?
6.
Number 4 is kind of. 4 or 6.
They all seem to talk about budget.
Yeah,
I think we've asked this one before, the number 1, the second part of it with the, what experience do you have?
Well, we're trying not to say what the questions are
Oh,
so that the candidates are not all prepared.
Okay, number 1, I would say we've asked. at least the first one.
Yeah, at least the first one, you're right, because it's going to be the luck of the draw.
Before, and it was helpful for knowing, like, I think that's a skill that we really are looking for.
The second part of question 1
Yeah,
sounds fair.
yeah.
Okay,
Cross out the.
Cross out the first part.
Yeah,
I mean, you could combine a little bit of the end of that one with number 3 and just make one list.
oh, right, right.
Oh, 2
And
questions
have
in
them
1.
expand on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
uh-huh. Yeah, I really like 3.
Yeah.
So do we
Because I
all,
think it's all related and
question 2, then we're going to eliminate? Or was that a keeper?
I liked
think
it, but
it's
it's not a keeper.
no, I think
Yeah.
they're gonna have to learn about that anyway.
Yeah.
before-
Yep. Okay, so on this page, I show 1 and 3 as keepers.
And we're gonna skip 4, 5, 6. What we think, they were the
Well,
same.
I don't think we've gotten that far.
No.
Gene was
Okay.
I interrupted and went back to 1.
No.
Yeah. So 4, 5, and 6 can all, they're all kind of similar. So
Mhm.
throw a dart and choose one.
If you want.
I don't think you're gonna be familiar with any of that until you're appointed.
How about number 5?
I think that one is fair. Like that, just to gauge.
Go with 5.
What do you think, Frank? 5? Toss out 6 and 4. Okay.
Mm.
Number 2. You like number 2?
Number 2?
I mean, for me, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we have that problem.
Mm-hmm. And that's just an opinion, really, you know,
Yeah.
an idea. Frank, do you have any strong feelings for number 4?
How do I say this? This is something that on number 4, it's, we don't need to. We have her.
Yeah, that's kind of what my thought was too on that one.
So strike number 4
Sounds good to me.
and strike number 3. So we only have one question there, or do you want to keep 3?
I mean, 3 isn't a bad one to go there for now. But we can get another question.
Okay, so 2 and 3. Okay. Next section.
I like number 1.
I'm good with that.
Strike number 3.
Yeah.
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 And how about number 2? Yeah,
I don't see,
Just 1.
just 1. Okay.
This one, okay. I like them too. But you can strike. I kind of like that one. Okay.
So there's 4 in this section.
I like number 4 on this one.
Yep. I do too. Anybody else?
Which number again, 30?
Number 4.
strike the other ones.
I definitely like 4. I also like 1, but
I think 1 would be a hard one for somebody to answer if they haven't sat in on the board and they haven't been involved in a lot of that long-term planning goals. That'd be a hard one for them to come up, I think, a hard answer for them to come up with.
How about 3 and 4? Maybe not everybody will get it, but you can ask 3 here, 4 there, something like that. Do you like number 3?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I think you should do number 2.
Yeah.
Sure.
That kind of answers number one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number two.
Yeah, I like it.
Is number three in the running?
Well, 3 and 4, very similar.
Yeah, 2 and 3,
2 and 3?
scratch
Strike
4.
4. All right.
I think you guys in agreement with that?
That's 1, 2, 3, 4.
And then they, depending on the time,
7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think that puts us at 11 questions. And that
Are we gonna combine this one with number 3 and financial oversight and make it one? I thought you said that initially, but maybe I was wrong.
on financial oversight,
I
I
thought you were
had
gonna-
striking all the first
Striking
half
two.
of one and
Right.
just going with the second
Okay,
half.
so
Yeah.
that would be, okay.
Yeah.
keep 1 or
Just that second half of
Just
one.
the second.
I was talking about the last page.
Oh, we were on financial oversight and budgeting.
Oh.
Sorry, on the very last page. Oh, you're closing questions. Okay.
Yeah.
I like number 2.
We'll strike 1.
That was easy.
Yeah, let's see. We got it. What questions do we have?
Phone.
2.
We ended up with 12.
And then are we gonna set a time limit?
No,
No, we're just gonna give them all 12?
all 12. Yeah, everybody's gonna get all 12.
Okay,
And no time limit?
no time limit?
I don't think they'll need a time limit for answering their questions.
Okay.
Well, if they answer them like Irby did.
Short and concise.
Just short
Yeah.
and sweet. Okay,
That's just, if you guys want to do a time limit, that's just my opinion. I don't want to put pressure on the applicants.
6 minutes? 5 minutes? We have 7.
Per question or
applicants-
for all of them?
applicants. No, not per question, no. Per person, because we have 7.
Yeah, we have
But here's what we'd run into. What if one person in
Right.
10 minutes time only got through 8 of the questions?
That's true. We should just.
I wouldn't want to put pressure on anybody to
Yes.
say you have to answer these questions within a time limit.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
okay.
So
So are we ready to
I think we're
start?
ready to get started.
Okay.
Draw a lucky number off the,
How we're gonna do it today, folks, is we have everybody's name in a little pile here and just going to move it around. So they won't be in a
are all the applicants here?
Only one I didn't know if I saw was Tamara. So she is not here.
She's not here. Well, her name will stay in the pile, and if we draw it and she's not here, then we'll work it out.
Well,
Through
well,
one.
that's gonna be our first one.
Okay, there you go.
That's our first one.
Kind of like the lottery. It just
Yeah. Tamara.
All right, set her aside.
Okay, there we go.
Should I sound it? I'll just catch them.
It'll be good. Okay, so we'll move on. She's not here. Tamara, going once, going twice, 3 times. Okay, let's see what our next one is. Next person is Cora. You're up, Cora. And do
For
we
sure not
just
on
want to go down the line?
I'd be happy to read the questions if you want me to, unless anybody wants to ask a specific question. I'll just read them off.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll go with that.
Hello, Cora. Thank you for coming. Should we get right into it?
Let's get it.
What do you know about the challenges that face this district?
Well, I know you have financial challenges. Great. Is that enough to sustain the district? Unless- Oh, am I on?
Right, did you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can hear you.
I
You're
can
right
start over,
there.
but I probably forgot what I said. So, yeah, I think, I mean, you guys talk about the challenges very well in all your meetings. Obviously, you need to secure funding through a vote. That's probably, the most detrimental thing that you're looking at, that it hasn't happened yet. And so to me, I think the perspective of the root of that challenge is that there's something with the board that's not meshing with the community, and got to find a way to merge those two things so that you can get a vote passed. Because your local option levy is going to expire, and then you need to have the voters' favor when that happens. It's money makes the world go round, so that's the challenge.
How do you differentiate between the role of the board and the role of the executive director?
The role of the board is to determine the direction of the district. What the priorities are, what you want to see, and then the executive director is to carry those things out. So that's the day-to-day decisions. And ultimately, the board's role is to safeguard the taxpayers' interest and the investment that we've made into the facility and the district. And that doesn't mean that you have to do everything that everyone wants. Of course, the board has to weigh that. That's the executive director doesn't weigh that. The board weighs that and then communicates that, in your meetings, and it's carried out by the staff.
How would you describe your collaboration style if you are working with board members who have different views?
I don't have a problem working with people who have different views. I think everyone has their perspectives, and I think everyone's perspective is important to see. And I kind of have a personality where I can see everyone's perspective and maintain my own. I don't think that the board has to agree on things. Just like the board is like a chasm of the community. We don't all agree on the same things and have the same ideas. And, the board's job is to figure that out and work together. So if you have something that's important to you, that's not important to someone else, it needs to be thoroughly discussed, and all opinions come to the table, and ultimately there's a vote. So,
What experience do you have reviewing financial statements, capital improvement plans, or multi-year budgets?
I used to work in government finance for a short period of time, but I have experience with that. I have experience preparing things for auditors and working with auditors, and looking at budgets, staying within budgets. I understand those things. I don't, I need some time looking over a budget. I need someone that I can ask, questions and understand how everything's tying into the different funds. But I'm definitely capable and have been in that world before I had babies. So my brain maybe is a little different now, but
Have you ever been involved in securing grants, bonds, or alternative revenue sources for public facilities?
no, I've very much been involved in, taking in the money, counting the money, securing the money, like making sure all the math adds up and things like that. But I've not been a part of grant things beyond probably just reviewing and on the flip side, ensuring that things are followed to the grants regulations once it's received.
Are you aware of the budget shortfalls this district has experienced since its inception?
Yeah, I think you guys do a very good job of communicating those things to the community, and I think everyone's aware of those. I think, you know, I've watched every board meeting that's on your YouTube, right? You guys discuss it a lot, and you should, because it's an important topic, but there's budget shortfalls, and I think that a lot of the discussion could benefit from shifting around what can we do with what we have, what we know we will have, how can we move forward with that instead of always reaching for something that's not quite there. You know, I think that's a part of the disconnect with the community, is that all we hear is that what you got is not good enough, and it was doomed from the start, and it's a lot of negativity. And you know, an average person looks at your budget and says, well, shoot, that's a lot of money. And I think that needs to be bridged to where, you know, even during your budget meeting, there was someone who said, well, why don't you get a consultant in here? You had these master plans and business plans that lay out your financial future and what you need to get there. But why don't you look at what you can do with what you already have? And I think, you know, making peace with the community and moving forward with what you can do there would be a good conversation for the board to have publicly.
Lifeguard staffing shortages are a nationwide issue. What creative ideas do you have for recruitment, retention, and training?
Well, yeah. So I think for lifeguard staffing, I think that it is a waste of resources to have your highest paid employee on the lifeguard chair. And I know that doesn't solve a shortage, but maybe, you know, if you think about how much that equates to per hour on the lifeguard chair, how many lifeguards can you pay for that amount? Or how much better could you pay the lifeguards that you have to create retention if you keep that line item the same as far as how much you're paying for that lifeguard in that chair? And then the other thing I would say is, you know, the more that you have open swims, the more that your community's in the pool, the more that you have kids in swim team, the more that you have kids competing, and those kids grow up. And, you know, your longest standing staff member started, I think, on swim team. Like, I've seen her at the pool since she was a kid. So I think those are important. I think that you could probably partner with like EMS and the fire department. There's, you know, like maybe the firefighting, the wildland firefighting school at COCC. Maybe there's something you could do with those, you know, people within like a partnership within people who are in college. I think, you know, supporting like not high school kids, but supporting youth or younger adults that are already studying in a field of athletic medicine or something. You know, we have a town full of people that are capable. But I think the biggest thing is you got to look at how you're already using your resources and maybe shift it.
How would you evaluate whether our swim lesson program, lap swim hours, or recreation swim offerings are meeting community needs?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that's been evaluated many times. I was reading last night your plan from 2023, I think, your master plan, and you had all the feedback in there that people wanted, you know, of what people wanted, more open swim. You hear it all the time. So I think, you know, that that's not a need that's being met. But, you know, looking at the data, and I think instead of, like I was looking in your, I don't know what page it is, but your financials for this month and the daily admissions that you have, and it was like $2,208 or $228. So it computes, if you look at your number of days that you were open, it's like 14 admissions a day, I think it was. And so you're comparing that to your budget amount, and that's what we see as community members. And you're like, okay, we were 100% on target. but how about next month? Can we go higher? Like comparing those things instead of, like, I see your charts in here, you have them. It's great data for the board, but I think, it's time to try something different. I know you guys just opened and you are trying something new right now, but yeah. I think people tell you what they want.
Our district serves a diverse population. How would you ensure underrepresented groups have a voice in district decisions?
I think that the best way you can ensure that underrepresented groups have a voice is to be willing to speak to them. I think that's something that is widely missing on this board currently. I don't know how we got there, but I think the board, from my perspective, is very blindsided by the financial issues of the district, that you forgot about the people and who's paying the tax bill, not just the people that come into the pool, but everyone, even the ones who can't come in, they still want to see this facility thrive. And I think that there's a lack of willingness to have conversations, and there's some condescending communication, and it's a hard time for people who come to speak to you guys, mostly if they are not singing praises. So,
if chosen, what are your top 3 priorities for your first year on the board?
yeah, you guys have big stuff coming up. I think the top 3 priorities would be to make sure that you're earning back the public's trust. I think that, you guys in your last meeting talked on a lot of things that need to happen. I think hiring the SDAO person to review having Bob Kiefer come in to review what your executive director is doing and what the wage for that should be. And then you also had some brief discussion about if that executive director position is the best way to serve the district, or if going back to the tiered style of management that had like an aquatics person and an administrative person would be better. I think that those are conversations that really do need to be looked into. And yeah, I mean, you're looking at posting the executive director job in January, and that's a big one. You got to get rid of that wage scale that the public doesn't trust. That's a big one. And then you're coming right up on your local option levy is going to be in, is it 28 that it expires? Somewhere coming up. I mean, it's a wee soon. And then I don't know if you're considering as a board going for the permanent rate again.
Well, let me ask you the question again then. What are your top 3 priorities for your first year on the board?
Yeah.
So
that's those, I guess those things, those would be, because I don't think that those things are openly discussed. Like, I show up to a meeting and it's like, okay, so here's the timeline for going up for the next ballot. Like, it doesn't seem to the community like those are your choices. But yeah, rescinding the wage scale, making sure that the SDAO thing happens, because there was some discussion amongst the board that maybe that wouldn't be worth it. And maybe you should just throw up the posting and see, you'll know by how many applicants you get if it is a good wage scale. I don't think that that's a good idea. I mean, for a lot of reasons, but for the main reason, because the community doesn't trust the wage scale, and even your executive director has said that the wage scale should be redone. So
how do you see yourself contributing to the long-term goal of financial stability for this district?
I think the only way that this district reaches financial stability long-term is by restoring your trust and communication and good faith with the community. So I think that is the path forward. That's the question that I asked you guys when I showed up at your budget session. Like, what's your plan to win the favor of the voters? that needs to be your utmost priority.
The term for this board position is 2 years. Are you prepared to serve the full term? And do you anticipate any conflicts that would force early resignation?
I would be prepared to serve the full term. I don't anticipate conflicts. I would have applied to be I wanted to apply to be a board member, and I was pregnant at the time of, turning in the applications, and I wanted to just be a mom. I have little kids at home, and I do still want to just be a mom, but I'm involved in this anyway. So
What specific skill set do you see in yourself that you will bring to this board?
I think just willingness to have conversations that people don't want to have. I think that, I don't know. I think there's a connection. I don't feel like I particularly have a deep connection with the community, but I just think that, you just need people that are going to say what needs to be said and aren't, worried about keeping things like prim and proper. I think you guys need to have more open discussion. Like, we don't see you guys having robust discussion about things, and that is what needs to happen. And I'm always happy to do that. So
In closing, is there anything else you'd like the current board or community to know about your qualifications or vision?
I think, as I'm a taxpayer, so I'm just as qualified as any of you to sit up on the board. And that's really what I think. I think that I don't know everything, and why would I know everything? But I'm willing to figure it out. I think you guys have seen that in the last few months that, I have a drive when I see that something's wrong and something, things are not lining up, that it just keeps me up at night. So that's why I'm here, and I will still have that whether you choose me or not. And, that's fine. I would say that I think it's been painted that there's some personal vendetta that I have, and that's not true. My name is on the OGEC filings just because you have to put a name, and I am the one that doesn't, don't like, it doesn't bother me to put my name. I don't have a business. I don't have kids in school. I don't have, anything that would make that uncomfortable in my personal life. Right. So, yeah, that's what I would say. I think the district has to go in a different direction, and it has to start with your connection with the community. And that's why I'm here. I don't know that I'm the best person for this. I think that Trudy is very well suited. I think that Carrie is very well suited. I'm sure that some of the other applicants would do great. I just think that as a board, you guys have to start having better communication with the people in this district and stop demonizing people's intentions when they come to speak to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cora.
Can I ask a question?
I don't think so. What does the rest of the board think?
I can ask it and you can answer it or not, maybe. What I was wondering is what your time commitment looks like. Like how much time you spend like per week or the week before the board meeting, or how many hours approximately you think that you spend.
Depends
I
on
don't
the
know.
position on the board.
Yeah, I'll
Right.
say, as secretary treasurer, you spend probably, I spend the whole day reviewing the packet every month, number one. You spend some trips going up, signing things, and it's kind of on a weekly basis what's going on. And the same for probably the chair and the vice chair are more involved daily with, hey, we've got this has come up, I need a signature, that kind of a thing.
Emails, phone calls.
What do you guys have to say?
I think it depends on what's going on.
What's going on?
When we have extra meetings, sometimes there's several meetings a month instead of one meeting a month. During an election time frame, I was spending, at least 10 hours a week, if not more.
On the political action committee side.
Because we need board member representation on that.
Jumping into
That's
coffee
happening
covers.
Every 5 years at minimum with the levy,
Mhm.
and then twice in the last year and a half. And then if there's things going on with like maintenance issues and facilities that we have to be involved in.
And I think that depends on each board member's skill set. Like I'll mention Frank, he was up there this summer a lot, going through manuals, working through the mechanics. I have no idea how many hours he spent, but every time I stopped in, he seemed to be there.
Mhm.
So I think it depends on what your skill set is as a board member, the position you hold on the board.
Mhm.
That's a hard one to answer, but that's a good question, Cora, because I think all the applicants
Yeah.
would probably like to hear that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
For letting me ask it.
Yep.
Nothing crazy, just that. So, okay, is that all?
I need to grab a charger out of my car.
Thank you.
Run.
Okay.
I'll grab it.
So do we mention that Janelle left?
Janelle has temporarily left the
6:18.
meeting, yes, and we're gonna
6:19.
hold off till she runs back in and then draw another lucky applicant.
They're mixed up, so we're just gonna go right off the top.
Oh, I see, that's Tamara. No, Tamara, huh? And she's not on Zoom? So I don't think so. Do you have a highlighter pen over there anywhere? Is it one in the drawer? No. Sorry. I'm afraid with all these scribbles, the ones I've scribbled out, I would miss one. And she's back.
Okay.
Okay, Early, you're up.
Record show, she's back at 6:20. Yeah. See, who we have next here? Carrie. Carrie Grant, why don't you come on up?
Hello, Carrie. Thank you for coming and applying.
You're welcome.
First question, are you ready?
Yep.
What do you know about the challenges that face this district?
Well, they've been very evident over the past, 6 months or so that I've been tuned in back with the pool. I know your taxes are not what they need to be. I know that you need to pass a levy in order to get more money coming in. I don't feel like that will happen with this current board and leadership. I don't think you guys really want to hear that or look at that. But I don't think the community trusts any of you, if I'm honest. I think you lost the whole summer of revenue, which I found completely ridiculous. I think we already discussed that. Anything else?
How do you differentiate between the role of the board and the role of the executive director?
Well, the board represents the taxpayer, which I think has been our biggest issue, is that we have not felt represented. And the executive director runs the day-to-day. She works basically for you guys, is my understanding. But I don't feel like it is like that. I feel like from the outside looking in, you work for her. That's how it looks on this side. I don't ever see any of you questioning her. I don't ever see any of you talking amongst yourselves. I would want the board to ask more questions of her, to table things, to look more deeply into things. You just, from what I see, you just tend to go along with what she says.
How would you describe your collaboration style if you are working with board members who have different views?
I've worked a lot with people who have different views. I am a pretty straight shooter, and people know that about me. You know where I stand. I don't sugarcoat things. I'm always willing to listen. I always try to see the other side. But I will always stand my ground as well.
What experience do you have reviewing financial statements, capital improvement plans, or multi-year budgets?
As far as that stuff goes, I don't really have any experience. I have worked in banking. I did work in the tax district for some time. I know how to manage money. I'm good with money. But as far as looking over a big budget like yours, I do not have experience with that.
Have you ever been involved in securing grants, bonds, or alternative revenue sources for public facilities?
I have not.
Are you aware of the budget shortfalls this district has experienced since its inception?
Yeah, I mean, at the inception of the pool, I was on the fence about even building it. Having grown up in Orange County, having a pool our entire lives, a pool is a money pit. I know that firsthand. And my thinking at the time was, we can build it, but how are we going to maintain it all these years? How will it be maintained? Because I know how things break. I know the cost of things for a pool are expensive. And I don't really have an answer other than to roll up your sleeves and do what it takes. And you have to get people in the door. You have to create reasons for people to come in the door. You can only tax people so much. And when the taxpayer doesn't trust you, they're not going to vote yes.
Lifeguard staffing shortages are a nationwide issue. What creative ideas do you have for recruitment, retention, and training?
Make the pool a fun place again. My oldest son worked there for 4 years. He loved working there because it was fun. My impression of the pool now is that it is not fun. It is not inviting. It is not a place people want to be. I think you need to pay these kids more. I think you need to build kids up when they work for you. I've seen many pictures of Courtney sitting on the lifeguard chair. I mean, that would pay 3 lifeguards of what you're paying her. That makes 0 sense. Zero financial sense to pay her $65 to sit in a lifeguard chair. You have to get kids from a swim team. You have to start building them up while they're there. But from what I'm hearing, nobody wants to work there.
How would you evaluate whether our swim lesson program, lap swim hours, or recreational swim offerings are meeting community needs?
I don't know. I think you have to figure out where the need is, where you've got the most people when. I think it's going to change during the year. I think you're going to have more laps swimmers here. You're going to have more swim lessons over here. It's just going to be kind of a yearly ebb and flow of who's coming when.
Our district serves a diverse population. How would you ensure underrepresented groups have a voice in district decisions?
Who do you consider underrepresented?
You want me to read you the question again? I have to read the same question for everybody.
Underrepresented. Okay, so underrepresented from what I can tell, are people who are living paycheck to paycheck. Who I don't think Warm Springs is underrepresented. I mean, they've got Anita right there. I think the board is completely out of touch with our low income families. I've been there back in the day. The pool was important to my kids. It was helpful when I was working. And parents now don't have that.
If elected, if chosen, what are your top 3 priorities for your first year on the board?
To rebuild, rebrand, and rehire a director.
How do you see yourself contributing to the long-term goal of financial stability for this district?
I think it's time to look outside the box for new ways to bring back the fun, to bring back the old days of what the pool used to be. It was the place where everybody was. It was the place to be. It was the place to go. There used to be bike racks full of bikes out front. You don't see that anymore. Under Joe, and say what you will about him, and under Tim Nelson, kids wanted to be there. You have to have a director who is outgoing, who is inviting, engaging of all the kids who are coming. That's not what you have right now.
The term for this board position is 2 years. Are you prepared to serve the full term? And do you anticipate any conflicts that would force early resignation?
My house is for sale. I am in a contingency. I didn't let it stop me. I applied anyways. This is my 3rd one. My house has been for sale since March. So I can't really answer that.
What specific skill set do you see in yourself that you will bring to this board?
I am willing to roll up my sleeves and do the hard things. I have seen boards in the past who are out hitting the pavement, talking to people about the pool. What do you want to see at the pool? How can we get you to the pool? I have not seen that in years and years. It's time to look outside the box of whatever's going on now.
In closing, is there anything else you'd like the current board or community to know about your qualifications or vision?
I'm just a mom who had 2 boys who were very active in the pool, who swam on the swim team. I believe his name is still on the board. Tyson was a lifeguard for 4 years. We were very involved in the pool back in the day, and it was the place to be. It was fun. It was engaging. Kids were happy to be there. I want to bring that back.
Thank you. That's your last question.
Trudy.
On up. Trudy, thank you for coming and applying for the position. First question, you ready?
Yeah.
What do you know about the challenges that face this district?
Well, we all know about the challenges. I don't believe that they are just financial. I believe they are heartful and passion. Yeah, I mean, yes, there are a lot of financial issues. Every business has those. Every district has those. Every company has those. But we have to break through. We can't be stuck there. We have to set goals. We have to create visions. And every time new people come on, maybe they have to be created again. But yeah, I know that there are challenges, but I think the biggest is just interpersonal with the entire community.
How do you differentiate between the role of the board and the role of the executive director?
Well, sitting through your training was very clear that, you know, the board works for the voters. And, you know, they represent who has voted them in and what the things that they're wanting. So a big job of theirs to do is to understand who they're representing and make sure that they keep in touch with that. That's the biggest role. And then for the executive director, they let them know what their goals are and what the expectation is to carry that out. For instance, you find out next week that there's no school on Friday, and the board members might just say, you know what, it's our expectation that we have free swim next Friday. And it's that executive director's job to take it to their managers and say, this is what my bosses want, and let's do it. It's teamwork from, you know, everybody works together, but the staff, the executive director and the staff feed off. They actually feed off the enthusiasm and the passion that the board has. And what you want to have set up is your staff and your executive director have so much respect for this board that they will do whatever they have to do to make your vision happen. Not, I can't, not, it won't work. More like, this is our path. That's the executive director's job, to take what this board says they want done and make it happen with their staff. So that's the job.
How would you describe your collaboration style if you are working with board members who have different views?
Well, we all work every single day with people who have different views. And what boards are, they're supposed to be diverse. They're, you know, not everybody is supposed to be the same. Not everyone's supposed to be professionals. Not everybody is supposed to be at the same socioeconomic. A board is a representation of our entire community. That's why it's great to see mothers on them, single, you know, mothers maybe who don't work, or mothers that do, you know, I think mothers is a very good representation on a board. But having that diversity in your boards helps. You know, you all have to work together for the betterment of the community, and you have to keep that focus the same. And so, you know, if I'm on a board, you know, we can discuss things and we can battle out, you know, what our goals are, and, you know, let's strike this one, let's strike that one. But then once the vote happens, then as a board, you collaboratively have to pick up the pieces and figure out, of what you voted on, of how you're going to make it happen. Then you have to, that's when you have that united front after decisions have been made.
What experience do you have reviewing financial statements, capital improvement plans, or multi-year budgets?
I have managed medical practices, physical therapy practices. I have been a part of companies, large, and nothing's harder than medical, and nothing. Janelle will tell you. There is figuring out how to keep the lights on and the ballet shoes purchased for the owners is a big challenge. And if you can run that kind of a business to success, you can run any business, and I can run any financials. It may take me 40 hours of trying to figure it out, but I'm very analytical. I have walked into situations where people have left through the night and I have to pick up the pieces. I've had, in 4-H where, the 4 boxes of books from the 4 years, and I have to put it all back together. My backbone of finances comes from just 4-H and running, that sounds silly, but that's where I got my experience, was having my own business in high school, all through from 5th grade on. And I moved that into my career, and I've done banking. I balanced First Interstate Bank as a senior in high school. I ran the proof machine and drive-through at the same time. So, I have always been very involved in financials, and they just click for me. I can see things that sometimes other people can't see, and they may not even make sense to other people, but but I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I don't, I do work with CPAs a lot, and I don't like to work unilaterally in financials. I like to work underneath somebody who, has the CFO and the CPA. I prefer to work that way, as every organization should.
Have you ever been involved in securing grants, bonds, or alternative revenue sources for public facilities?
I've been part of teams. When you have a team, one person doesn't do all of that. So you have one person who applies, another person who helps, make sure all the wording is correct, making sure, everything's going on. And then you have the person that steps in and, okay, these are guidelines. These are the things we have to do, and making sure that, because getting the grant isn't the big thing. It is making sure that all of your paperwork and everything that you have done, you have to cross your T's and dot your I's, because when those suckers are audited, they better be okay. COVID was a big time for me of learning, really, because those dollar amounts were so huge, and it was a huge responsibility. The team effort, I think team efforts for grants and things like that, that's the realization. It's not one, it's a whole team that busts their buns to get it done.
Are you aware of the budget shortfalls this district has experienced since its inception?
So I guess for me, when we say budget shortfalls, that's where my business head comes in. I've run medical practices. You have to learn to keep the lights on, right? And it isn't given to you. It isn't just what plops in your lap from the taxpayers. You have to get out. One thing that this district needs to do, how long has it been since you've talked about the amount of money that should be created, revenue beyond the taxpayers. What is your goal there? What are your percentages? Like, how many memberships as a board do you want to be seen sold a month? How many, I don't care about dollar amounts, 75%, like when you say, how many memberships did we sell this month? 40. Great. I want to see 60 next month. I want to see 80. There are things you can do to create revenue, but it doesn't have to be like it. You have to do, but it's when it's a compassionate movement, like this is how we, that's the one thing that I just, so I can't really say. I don't think we can blame the taxpayers for a budget shortfall. We also have to realize that we have to take blame. Every time you shut the doors of that building, you're rebuilding. You cannot shut those doors because if you are not creating revenue, you cannot expect to only get revenue from the taxpayers. And there has got to be a responsibility for what staff members create for you guys. And you guys have got to have a goal for what that is. And you've got to be part of it with, even decisions of, Christmas time, sell some memberships, have, whatever, get the community excited to buy some punch cards for their, get some advertising out, get some enthusiasm, for people to want to go to the pool and spend their money there. Anyway, that is just one of my, and I'm going to say, I've worked with the doctors who built this pool and I rescheduled patients time and time again when they, had a meeting or had to go to this or that. I have a lot of passion for the heart and the sweat that went into building the pool. And they never meant for it to sit there and have 6 people in a class. It just never was meant. When you're an entrepreneur and you're somebody who is working like a doctor does, like to the bone, you're expecting that that's what's going to happen in a facility that you're building as well. So I don't know if I answered that. Yes, there are some needs, but I do believe that we need to be specific about what the needs are. We need to know what repairs we need to have done. And because of that dollar amount, how, is this a bond? Is this a, local option levy? That's a 5-year thing. Just a permanent tax rate may not be the answer always. So anyway, just understanding all those things, but it's multifaceted. And, but the biggest thing, if you want to create revenue, create it. How many other businesses in town don't just figure out how to create revenue? So.
Lifeguard staffing shortages are a nationwide issue. What creative ideas do you have for recruitment, retention, and training?
You have to stop closing. We did not have a lifeguard shortage in this town until COVID. How long was that facility closed? And the reason why we lost the ability to have lifeguards is because we didn't have swim team and we didn't have, so those things happened. Okay. So we are 5 years out of COVID. We have got, so you just have to realize that's the number one goal of this board. You got to keep those doors open. It has to be consistent. You can't, we can't do, recreation swim because we don't have enough people. Well, you've been closed. You can't expect people, like their lifestyles are built around it being closed right now. Just like I don't eat out anymore because the restaurants were closed for 2 years. So I don't need to do that anymore. So that's kind of, that's the realization. You have to look like a stable place to work. If you close every other day, every other week, every year, even a month in September, that affects these lifeguards. But, and then consistent hours, you can't expect to have the high school kids come if, I mean, not if you're open 3 hours on a Saturday every other week, that isn't going to, they need hours, which it fixes another problem because you can create revenue. But the other thing that just in my professional world and working in medical is I'm telling you, those kids that are wanting to be doctors and pharmacists and anything in the medical field, get in that high school and get with Megan, I believe is her name, who is helping, get the medical kids. Those kids, they need to be a lifeguard. Anybody who's trying to do anything medical, if they've got that on their college application, they're one in on everybody else. And youth is a passion of mine, always has been, because I'm a product of what this community put into me as a youth. And, just that realization that if you have a goal to do, anything in medical college, and that's what the MAC has always done. Usually just the best of the kids are the lifeguards there, and they're valued, and they're in the past years they're just amazing kids, and just look at the things they're doing, and we need that again, and our kids need that opportunity. And that's why it's important at the board level, we got to get it together. We have to get it together to be able to provide that service to our kids.
How would you evaluate whether our swim lesson program, lap swim hours, or recreational swim offerings are meeting community needs?
Well, this is where the challenge is. I don't know if you've ever gone to a lap swim, but I can't lap swim because, man, that is a professional thing. I have tried. This was years ago, so maybe there's not. Remember, we used to have a master swim program. And so, what you're seeing now is not what our pool used to be. Our master swim program, I think we had 20 adults in our master swim program. And so when you went in the morning, and you needed to have your little thing, oh goodness. So what I'm saying is the biggest challenge of the board is that you have to have all of it, and you have to be considerate for the needs of each. So, the lap swimmers, what? Your life may be really miserable if you have it at certain times of day with other things, but all you can do is try and then get the feedback. I think what you guys are doing right now is great. You guys are, you're trying and you're offering it all. And I think that's great. But I don't know how long until the master swim, and I would love to see the master swim program. All of those master swimmers, they're at the gym. I don't even think and swimming. The thing is, swimming is a lifelong thing. You can do it your entire life. When I managed physical therapy, I scheduled physical therapy in the pool, and it was one of the things that I did. And it's amazing when that person gets in the pool from their wheelchair and they're unassisted. It's the first time they've been able to move without their nurse, because they're buoyant and they can swim. It's powerful. What can happen. So anyway, I'll stop there, but.
Our district serves a diverse population. How would you ensure underrepresented groups have a voice in district decisions?
Well, the district decisions is pretty hard. I feel like sometimes with this district, what I've seen is when the underserved have spoke, they're disregarded. And that's in some of the surveys, the recreation swims, things like that, disregarded, but with a reason, but it doesn't really help. So I think that you have to figure out how to have somebody who can bridge the gaps if it's not a service you can provide at that time, to be able to communicate with them. I also think it isn't just Kiwanis, and it isn't just, it isn't all of these clubs. You're not going to find the underserved there, so you're not ever going to know, what they need or what they want, because where we're touching into, they're not going to be at the Mac Bash. They're not going to be, they're not going to be at Kiwanis. Their parents are working. They might not even be between the 5:30 to 7 swim because mom probably works till 6. I mean, kids, what these parents are going through nowadays to be able to just pay the rent is crazy. So, but I think we just have to be creative to figure out how to get, because those underserved are your votes. And if you can get those underserved to care and actually go to the polls, that is the difference.
If chosen, what are your top 3 priorities for your first year on the board?
Number 1 is communication and respect to the public, all of them. Just communication and relatability, and just, trying to figure out how to reach people and to find common ground. And actually, my number 1 thing would be to find somebody to come in and mediate between the people that are not happy and the people that are happy, and the board in the middle, so that they can understand the difference. And at some point, we had an extension. This happens so much. I mean, Clint Jacks would go to he did a lot with the tribes and in Warm Springs, but he did it with groups too. He did it with our group. 4-H was horrible. And I don't know if they still have those programs. I've been out of touch with Extension for quite some time, and I know they've had a lot of cuts, but they used to have professionals that actually worked with groups, and actually, and was like, that's not appropriate. You know what I mean? Like, would actually help the group and would stop you and would, and there was a team of them. So I don't know. That'd be my number 1 thing. Number 2 would be just to dive in. I mean, absolutely, what needs to be fixed, when, how much money, how long is it going to last? Like, I mean, spend a ton of time there to figure out what we need. Like, I mean, just the whole tax thing. And then also, do we need a bond? Do we need and we have to be realistic with that. We have to be realistic. And I guess the third thing would be taking that realistic thing and making it happen, which is, that's tough. When you're looking at permanent rates, I know you guys have seen the things that I've done with the permanent rates. The only reason why I did that is because I was being eaten alive about this permanent rate. And when I dove into, did you guys actually look to see what the permanent rates are around here and what the permanent rates are for other pools? And, so that would be another goal of mine, is to whatever this board took to the public, like I'm telling you, we poke the holes through it and don't stop, and let people be, bring people on that will help us to poke holes in it, whether it hurts or not, so that when we take our product out, we know that those 2 groups that we've gotten help with are going to meet in the middle, and that we're going to, it may not be $1.19. It might be something down the middle. And then, if you don't make it a permanent rate, then if you do it, if you do a local option levy and you double it, and you show people, then maybe the next 5 years you can try the permanent rate after you've fill that place with people and everybody's happy and the hub's there again. And yeah, anyway, I think that's 3. I don't know. Sorry.
How do you see yourself contributing to the long-term goal of financial stability for this district?
For me, I am connected with a lot of different people in this community. I have lived here all of my life. First time I moved was when I got married. It wasn't until my 25th wedding anniversary that I brought my wedding dress out of my bedroom at my mom and dad's house. I mean, when you work in medical, I not only have I lived here all my life, but I also, biggest reason I had, physical therapy. My goodness, I don't even know how many patients we saw an hour, all of Madras. And I realize I don't know new folks quite as much, that's probably one of my, because I've been out of medical for 8 years maybe. So, but yeah, the biggest thing is people do know me. I am a people person and I'm relatable to people. And I'm not afraid to say what needs to be said. And I try to be respectful with what I say and try to find common ground for people.
The term for this board position is 2 years. Are you prepared to serve the full term, and do you anticipate any conflicts that would force early resignation?
I don't anticipate any. I do have a very numbers job, and it does wear me out by the end of the day sometimes. But, so I would hope that I wouldn't have ebbs and flows. But yeah, it just, as I get older, just pounded numbers all day. It just, sometimes I need a revitalization. So, but no, nothing to, but I would hope that someone could come and pick me up if they could see that I was, not digging as deep into everything else because I'm just zacked.
What specific skill set do you see in yourself that you will bring to this board?
I realize that none of you probably believe this, but I am an absolute people person.
I'm sorry.
And I'm an absolute people person, and I am very relatable with, I've lived in this community all of my life, and I'm relatable with a lot of, I'm relatable with a huge population that is not really in touch with health, importance of, like just education, just the whole health care, and how this fits.
And closing question.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you'd like the current board or community to know about your qualifications or vision?
Just that I think it's important to carry old visions with our new, and to always remember why we're here. We are all here today because doctors were tired of birthing children and burying them because they pulled them out of the irrigation ditch. And yeah, that's why we're here. And yes, recreation, health, but I've been involved in this from the beginning. And that truly is when those doctors were, I saw them at their desk, I was there. And just the passion of health. But I don't know. Other than that, I guess I just I guess that's it. I don't know. I can't really think of anything.
Thank you, Trudy. Next lucky person.
Next lucky person is, let's see who we have here. Steve?
Hello,
Hello.
welcome. Thank you for coming and applying for the board position. Ready to roll? What do you know about the challenges that face this district?
I've lived in the district for 5 years.
Could I get you to, I'm really hearing impaired. Could I get you to, yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
I moved to the community 5 years ago, and it was spring of 2020. And miraculously, we were able to do that in the middle of COVID explosion. And one of the things that really just kind of was part of this town, we were looking for a quiet place. We had been living in a high rise in Seattle, downtown condo, and I couldn't believe how quiet it was once we got here. But the center, the aquatic center, was just one of those gems that was out there that really brought us to that. And so
I'm sorry to keep asking, but can you slide that microphone? You have such a soft voice.
I thought it was.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Steve. Thank you. How do you differentiate between the role of the board and the role of the executive director?
The role of the board, and it's been mentioned several times, you work for the people that elect you and bring you on to this board to manage the needs of what we are doing with the district. The executive director is someone that you bring on board to help you manage that. And through you have your discussions, you have your process, and the executive director should be listening to that very clearly and take that information and go back and run the district as you have brought to the table from the citizens of the community.
How would you describe your collaboration style if you are working with board members who have different views?
I've served on several different boards. I was on the school board in Eugene, and it went through several elections and got elected for that. And working with a diversity of thinking that was in place. Eugene's kind of a melting pot for some different things. And but it was a great experience. I have, throughout my career, I was an air traffic controller. Throughout my career, I have been able to use those tools of being able to listen, process, respect, and absorb what others are saying and respect their opinions and bring that together and have honest back and forth conversations so that you can get a resolution that brings us to where we all want to be.
What experience do you have reviewing financial statements, capital improvement plans, or multi-year budgets?
As I mentioned before, I was an air traffic controller. I've been involved in the ground up building of 2 control towers, one in Eugene and one in Portland. And then I was part of a group in Seattle when I moved up there that with the Port of Seattle, I was the FAA representative, and we went through the process of engineering, developing, and actually pouring the concrete for the 3rd runway at SeaTac in Seattle. That involved a lot of different parts and pieces of looking at strategies to manage funds. Agreed, a lot of them were federal funds, but it's still the same kind of context that we had to go through. What we were offering insight into what we thought should happen, and work with the parties to bring it to a efficient price for us to do our process. So I mean, those experiences, I had to look at the long term. I mean, you don't just build a runway for the heck of it. You have to look at, what has been happening with air traffic through the years, what you expect to happen in the future, the development of new aircraft, new technologies. That was all part of what we did through the vision of that and came to that process.
Have you ever been involved in securing grants, bonds, or alternative revenue sources for public facilities?
I have for, we worked with, when I was on the board in Eugene, I was also a member of the local Rotary Club. And we, several members on the board, we had a conversation about working and collaborating with the Rotary Club to come into the schools and do some really good programs. They supported it, they funded it, but they weren't aware of some of the challenges that we did have. And so it was really exciting to see that come to fruition, where we had, students that were just really, and it wasn't just students, it was staff. I mean, teachers have their, bless them, they do a great job. But supporting them and the staff of the schools, we were able to bring in, and it wasn't just the Rotary Club, it was some other organizations related to the university. We adapted some of the university clubs, a couple of the Greek sororities got involved with us, and we were able to manage and work that. And it was just bringing parties together for a conversation, expressing a need, identifying the need, and letting them see that. They were more than willing to dive in and get on board with it.
Are you aware of the budget shortfalls this district has experienced since its inception?
I'm aware because it's been talked a lot about since I've moved here 5 years ago. Again, you have a real diamond up there on the hill. That facility is, it's built, and it was built with funds. I know the land was donated by the Being Foundation, and a lot of collaboration to get that beautiful facility built. Now, to manage and run that, and to, pools just don't, sit there in the water and it just hangs out and then everybody can come swim in it. It has to be filtered, processed, heated. You have to do all these different things, and there's a lot of parts and pieces of a building like that. And that is, it's a tough thing to express to the public that that's what you need. Taxes aren't the favorite thing of the community across the nation right now. It's unfortunate that, it's just that mindset. It's kind of I've got blinders on, I'm not paying any more taxes. That is unfortunate. You need to kind of work through and it's just an understanding of getting to where you identify that we're not just making this stuff up. It really takes this to run this facility. And, you have to hire the right people. You have to hire, all up and down to be doing, just not just staff, but the people that work on the facility, the contractors that you have to deal with and manage out. And that's really crucial. This community is growing rapidly, and it's hard to see that kind of thing not get passed on a bond measure. It's really unfortunate. And so I'm aware of it.
Lifeguard staffing shortages are a nationwide issue. What creative ideas do you have for recruitment, retention, and training?
One thing that I would offer is that they're doing a lot of building across the street from the middle school there. It's a large facilities going in, and there's going to be a lot more students over there. I would offer that maybe we should explore, or you should explore, the opportunity of maybe collaborating with Central Oregon Community College to, for one thing, maybe develop a program, actually a class function that would involve the use of the facility. And through that, maybe you can collaborate and find some available students that are looking to go to work and, to pay for their college funding. But I think it would be a unique opportunity to kind of tie into that. They are doing a lot of things through Central Oregon community colleges and building, like, trade for, contractors, electricians, that type of activity. Agreed. And it's been mentioned before, that being a lifeguard, being involved in that kind of thing, and it's a real growth process for a student. Or, I was a lifeguard growing up, and it just really, being able to just be out there, talk to all different kinds of people and relate and do all kinds of different things. And at the moment you were needed to react to a situation, you did. And that is truly life building for students. And I think that would be an opportunity maybe that we could look into, or you could look into. Sorry.
How would you evaluate whether our swim lesson program, lap swim hours, or recreational swim offerings are meeting community needs?
I would offer, I think you've been doing some of that, just looking at the numbers that you've been tracking. I think I saw in the packet that I got that there was some, hours, number of persons that are coming by and, taking part in the opportunity. Honestly, I think those numbers look low for, what you have. I think one of the things that I believe that we need more of is a communication throughout the community that this is available, this kind of activity, this kind of program. Swimming is so important. Children that grow up that don't learn how to swim are in danger the rest of their lives. It's just, and it's so many times you hear about someone that has just slipped on the shore on a hike or fallen off a boat, and they didn't make it through it because they didn't know how to swim. It's a foundation. It's like you have to go play it in Little League. You have to play baseball. You have to play basketball. You have to swim. And so it's that kind of thing. And if that opportunity is not there for children growing up, it's unfortunate because they really are going to miss out on a real life-building experience.
Our district serves a diverse population. How would you ensure underrepresented groups have a voice in district decisions?
I think it's been mentioned before, there's some groups that are, different groups that are out there and available that, and I mentioned, even you could go to veterans even and just have a conversation with them, just if nothing else, just to get honest feedback from what their perspective is on it. But there's a lot of, and maybe going to a variety of the schools for their meetings and, just listening, having a conversation, just offering to all the different aspects of this community what services you offer and what's available, and see what kind of feedback that you get from them, and maybe adapt to that. If the hours are wrong, that's one of the things they identify. Well, you're not there after 3 p.m. Boom. Maybe you make that change and you try to get to that goal. But it's I've had coffee with some of the city representatives here, and they are they just don't want to be involved with the pool. And that is absolutely insane to me that, and that's that really speaks to what challenges you have as a board. And, it's just it sets me back. And those individuals are going to be harder to get through than some of the others because they're going through financial issues and problems themselves. I agree, and you have to respect that, but just to put up the hand like no, not going to do it. That's no good. We have to have the conversation.
If chosen, what are your top 3 priorities for your first year on the board?
Educate myself on all the issues related to the facility and the finances and everything that's involved with the facility. I also develop a relationship with the other board members. That's crucial. I've throughout all of my experiences with boards and commissions, that's been very, it's absolutely almost critical that you develop those relationships to understand opinions, understand when someone says something, and you can almost, once you do that, you can almost pick up in a simple little sentence that's stated on the board meeting like this. Oh, I know where he or she is, and so develop relationships. And then the third thing would be to make sure that myself available to any other experiences, offer my time. And I'm retired. I'm a fresh set of eyes, and I'm wide open to, be like a sponge and start listening and, be honest about how I'm hearing it. And so.
How do you see yourself contributing to the long-term goal of financial stability for this district?
That's a interesting one because it's again part of the education that I'd be looking at. I know, applying for the board, I just kind of started to expand some of the thinking that in the finances of the facility and the district, and I just started looking at that. And there's a lot more that I need to sit down and have a discussion with some of you or the executive director to wrap my head around those kinds of finances. I offer that if I'm selected for the board, that it would be a priority to make sure that that's what we're thinking of and we're moving towards, because we have to be financially sound and proactive out into the future to meet the needs of what the district is offering and what we can offer to the community.
The term for this board position is 2 years. Are you prepared to serve the full term, and do you anticipate any conflicts that would force early resignation?
Again, I'm retired. I'm just kind of hanging out, taking walks around the neighborhood, and I will definitely serve the rest of this term. And at this point, I would think I would run again.
What specific skill set do you see in yourself that you will bring to this board?
I think maybe I can just I'd like to myself. I like to hear what people, when you sit down and you're trying to develop a strategy or you're trying to work through an issue. I've had to throughout my career listen to all the parties involved and then be able to filter and take parts and pieces of each of those and bring them together to meet a resolution. And it's just something I offer that I can do that I'm a process thinker. I respect everyone that comes to the table for whatever reason. Other board members, community, all levels. You know, it just, that's just kind of where I come from.
In closing, is there anything else you'd like the current board or community to know about your qualifications or vision?
Let's see, I was a lifeguard and air traffic controller. My background, and it's been very diverse, very, I've been fortunate. I grew up my father was a military helicopter pilot during the Vietnam War. And we moved around, traveled a lot. I ended up in first grade in Europe and, fourth grade in Texas, and graduated from high school in Southern Alabama, went to college in Central America. It was, it's been a diverse time and process for me throughout the years to do that. And I think that, I can just offer, again, I've pulled back. I've settled in Madras. It's, I've got used to the quiet, by the way. It's very nice. But hopefully that answers that for you.
Thank you, Steve.
I have to apologize, but I had a schedule change that created quite a conflict for me here. I will review all of the remaining interviews,
Okay.
so I'll know what's going on and what they've
Okay.
seen, but this wasn't my original intent, so.
Okay.
thank you.
Okay. Let the record show that Frank is even at 7:24. Okay, see who we have next. Dick. Come on up, sir.
Hello. Thank you for applying and coming tonight.
Yeah,
Dick.
Nelson.
Dick
I
Nelson.
apologize for my handwritten application. That was a last minute deal.
Yeah,
I can read it.
it's very legible, yes. First question, Dick. What do you know about the challenges that face this district?
We've lived here now 9 years, and we've watched what's gone on and have been involved in pools in Hillsborough and Forest Grove area. So we know what challenges all the pools are faced. And, it's, I guess from my perspective, people want to simplify what it is, and it's not. You got to get the revenue from the voters. The membership's not going to pay for it. And you have to get some grants. And, that's my perception. It's, short and sweet, but.
How do you differentiate between the role of the board and the role of the executive director?
Well, you guys are the ruling entity. Courtney's knows the rules. She knows how to perform, doesn't. But when something comes up or you have an issue with an abnormality, anything like that, or something new comes up, that's the board.
How would you describe your collaboration style if you were working with board members who have different views?
I've worked and self-employed. I've worked with car dealers until I retired for 20 years. Car dealers, manufacturers. I can relate to anybody. I've had people say some pretty rude things to me. You know what? I have Teflon. I just let it roll off. I find that if you relax, you ask questions, you try to be understanding. Sometimes it's very difficult. You can work with people, or I can work with people. I can even work with Becky.
What experience do you have reviewing financial statements, capital improvement plans, or multi-year budgets?
None.
None.
I when I had my own businesses, that's been 30 years ago. So nothing since then.
Have you ever been involved in securing grants, bonds, or alternative revenue sources for public facilities?
No, ma'am.
Sorry. Are you aware of the budget shortfalls this district has experienced since its inception?
I don't know about its inception, but yes, since I've been over here, my wife and I, yes. We've tried to help, put out signs, talk to people, trying to get the vote out. So yeah, very aware.
Lifeguard staffing shortages are a nationwide issue. What creative ideas do you have for recruitment, retention, and training?
I would start with the schools. Go around, talk to principals, talk to the athletic directors. You've got a variety of people all the way from Warm Springs, anything in Jefferson County. They get out there and get the word out. And there are kids, I know we were at the dog park and one woman had her daughter was a lifeguard here. But when it closed down, when things got shut down, then she had to go find other work. But there's kids willing to do it. And it's just a matter of getting the word out to them. I'd be willing to go down, call on every school. I mean, they might throw me out, but I'd go talk to them. Just ask, it's all they can do is refuse. And aside from that, use the emails, put out the message. We need lifeguards, and anything. I looking at emails. Everybody asks for emails now. They text now. We've got to. I'm sure you have a supply. I'd send a message out to each and every one of them. We need lifeguards. Do you know anybody or your children, or your teenagers? I'm a lifeguard. Talk to them. I wouldn't ignore anybody. Gotta ask for it. I'm a salesman. I gotta ask for sales.
How would you evaluate whether our swim lesson program, lap swim hours, or recreational swim offerings are meeting community needs?
I think it'd be better, but it's more, again, it's more relevant when you tie it to what the hours have to be at the pool. If the pool's only open X number of hours, that's going to affect that. But when the pool's open, they have the exercise. My wife goes through the exercise. You go through it. I use it. I was swimming, but using it for physical therapy. We do it every day it's open. And, I'm a big fan. And I think it's again, better publicity. We need to get the word out to people. And that's my impression. But they do a good job. You need every bit of it.
Our district serves a diverse population. How would you ensure underrepresented groups have a voice in district decisions?
Boy, that's a tough one. I grew up in a diverse neighborhood. In Oregon, we had Portland, we had Japanese Americans. We had, a little of everything. And I'm part Native American. Don't look it, but you just there again. I think you have to beat on the doors. You have to go out and talk to people. Things like the air show, where you can get people that are not, may not come to the pool or are, but you bring in people in from out of the area, and but you're bringing in from, a good turnout, and to get out and talk to them. The booth set up out there. The booths are wonderful, but get some pamphlets and wander out around the crowd and talk to everybody. And that's hard work. If you're bashful, you aren't going to do it. But I'm a salesman. I'm not bashful. I got to ask for the money.
If chosen, what are your top 3 priorities for your first year on the board?
Well, number one, I'd have to learn what the board does. I'm blind, and that would be, and be there for whatever you guys need to do. Because, I would be out there, I'm learning the process. But I have ideas, but, see how the board functions from a reality standpoint, as opposed to what everybody perceives. Everybody's got a different perception of what you guys are doing. And, find out what's going on.
How do you see yourself contributing to the long-term goal of financial stability for this district?
Work. Thought crosses my mind that we have internet, we have email, we have texting. We don't get enough addresses. We should, thought that comes to my mind. Set up a dining block up in Martin Market. Any of the markets talk to them, can we set up out in your lot? Have a pamphlets, maybe a little freebie like a button. I love the pool. We want your email. We want to communicate. But get them face to face.
The term for this board position is 2 years. Are you prepared to serve the full term? And do you anticipate any conflicts that would force early resignation?
I am almost 83 years old. I have a damn flu. I'm sorry. It's just running on, but I was in the doctor. I was having some issues. And I sat down before Dr. Blake and I said, Dr. Blake, I said, I'm 82 years old. I've never felt like this. And I do now. And I said, damn, I hate it. That's the answer. It's, if I'm around, I'm here.
What specific skill set do you see in yourself that you will bring to this board?
Communication. I love to communicate with people. I'm not bashful. Sometimes it's a problem, but getting out and talking to people and tell them about the pool. The people that use it are loyal, and it's great. When I was a kid, we had neighborhood pools, but I was heavily involved in swim teams with Forest Grove, and we had a swim supply business that we formed out of that to work with. We set up at regional meets all over the Northwest. So we'd pay the teams a percentage, and then they'd let us come in and we'd suit any kind of equipment. So it's, communication again, word of mouth, the way it gets around.
In closing, is there anything else you'd like the current board or community to know about your qualifications or vision?
No, I think I pretty well covered it. There's things I don't know. I'm not afraid to say I don't know.
Okay, well, thank you.
Time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
for your
you.
time. Since Tamara's
Okay.
not here,
Where's that here? So we have our last one, Leanne.
Leanne, hello,
Hey, Leanne.
Leanne. Thank you for coming.
You're very much welcome.
So on your application, you listed your residence as 154 Northeast Jefferson Street,
Yes.
correct? But then you answered, are you a resident of the Mac Recreation
that-
District?
Question, I wasn't for sure on how
I
you were
wondered.
asking, because I thought it was asking if you're part of the pool.
So
So,
if you live within the 509J school
Okay.
district boundaries, you are a resident within the MAC. So the
Okay.
answer would be yes.
Yes.
So we figured it was probably a little bit of
it was a
confusion.
little confusing.
Okay, so we're going to change that to a yes. All right, so first question. What do you know about the challenges that face this district?
Well, I've been noticing for the last few months or so, you guys have been having budget issues, but with the pool closing down and not people being able to use it. And it's money issues. Money doesn't grow on trees, I wish it would, but you guys have your issues, and Yeah, it's just mainly money issues, budget. Yeah.
How do you differentiate between the role of the board and the role of the executive director?
Well, the way I'm looking at it, the executive is a little bit higher than you guys, so you guys report to him or her, whoever it is. And you guys say, hey, this is what's going on. Can we get a vote on this? And he or she says yay or nay. Pretty self, yeah.
How would you describe your collaboration style if you are working with board members who have different views?
I different views. It doesn't matter to me. I work at the pantry and the free food market. Several people come in with a different point of view saying, I can't have this. Why can't I have that? And I just deal with it. I'm going, hey, this is what we got. Sorry, kind of got to deal with it. So I just kind of deal with it. Doesn't bother me.
What experience do you have reviewing financial statements, capital improvement plans, or multi-year budgets?
Actually, none at the platoon moment. I'm hoping if I get voted in, this will be a learning process.
Have you ever been involved with securing grants, bonds, or alternative revenue sources for public facilities?
No, and again, I'm hoping this will be a learning process.
Are you aware of the budget shortfalls this district has experienced since its inception?
Yes, I am fully aware. And you guys are trying to do your best.
Lifeguard staffing shortages are a nationwide issue. What creative ideas do you have for recruitment, retention, and training?
Maybe stick a lifeguard training class in the high school. Maybe see if any high schoolers want to take a program. Maybe offer a summer training program for any kids that want something to do during the summer.
How would you evaluate whether our swim lesson program, lap swim hours, or recreational swim offerings are meeting community needs?
You guys are trying your best to meet community needs, but I do believe it is very, very hard. You're trying your very, very, very best.
Our district serves a diverse population. How would you ensure underrepresented groups have a voice in district decisions?
I say everyone's got a voice, whether they're heard or not, but everyone's got a voice.
If chosen, what are your top 3 priorities for your first year on the board?
If I'm chosen to get the money situated and the pool back open and running and get some lifeguards on duty so we can watch those kiddos swim and parents can't not so cautious.
How do you see yourself contributing to the long-term goal of financial stability for this district?
Trying my best with everyone else as much as I can do my best.
The term for this board position is 2 years. Are you prepared to serve the full term? And do you anticipate any conflicts that would force early resignation?
I moved here 8 years ago. Don't plan on moving anytime soon. So no, I don't plan on, no.
What specific skill set do you see in yourself that you will bring to this board?
Outgoing, angelic, and young. And
in closing, Leanne, is there anything else you'd like the current board or community to know about your qualifications or vision?
I'm hoping you guys, I know I don't have a lot of qualifications and But I'm hoping you guys give me a chance and this will be hopefully a learning process for all of us.
Thank you,
You're
Leanne.
very
Appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Leanne.
Tamara, coffee? I guess that wraps it up.
So we talked about this. Are we ready to vote? Because I know I'm not. I want to kind of digest some things or.
We're missing
Yeah.
a board member too.
Yeah.
So,
It's on your business meeting agenda. You can choose to postpone it. You can postpone it to the December meeting. You can postpone it to a special meeting that you would schedule between now and then, whatever the board, however the board wants to proceed.
Well, I believe we should postpone it to a time when all board members are present.
I think maybe a special meeting to where
Yeah.
that's all we
could
talk
do
about
that.
is this.
Um,
That's what I think.
Can you send an email out to see if Frank's available certain dates and times or?
Yeah, I think the tricky part is that, the club volleyball practices are like supposed to be 6 to 8 on Monday, Wednesday, but I think they originally were gonna be 7:30 to 9 on Monday, Wednesday is what happened tonight.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he's coaching my child, so I know that it's
Oh.
Monday and Wednesday.
Oh, so that's, I didn't really understand why Frank had to leave, but he said he had a prior commitment. Yeah. Yeah.
that was it.
Yeah, I got here and I
That
was
was
like,
it.
shouldn't you be coaching right now? 'Cause I thought practice was 6 to 8.
Back when we did availability for setting our schedule, most board members had availability on, I think it was Tuesday and Thursday nights as well. So, I mean, what I could do is send out a doodle poll and try and find a time between now and then.
I mean, it doesn't have to be on a Monday or, you know,
Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm saying, like,
Wednesday.
if
I
we
mean,
just do it
we
like a
can-
Tuesday or something.
yeah, if we have a special meeting to where we just talk about this, I'm. pretty
I'm good
sure
with
we're
any day
available.
except Tuesday,
Of
any evening
Bowling.
except Tuesday.
Yep.
Bowling, yes.
course.
That's right.
I'll get a doodle poll sent out and we'll get something.
You and Friday night. I'm not doing anything. Friday night, just get it whipped down. I mean, depends on what day. Could be gone.
Yeah.
It's hunting season, so.
There's a holiday.
Right?
Friday, I'm on call, I'm in.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be any day really.
So
In the
do we
work
have to
session.
make a motion for that? We're gonna table it? Nope, I'm just gonna do it. Okay, just
Yeah,
we'll
and
set
then
out
when
the
it comes
poll.
up in the business meeting, you can say you're
Okay.
gonna postpone it to a special meeting to be scheduled.
So that means we're gonna close our work session then. Okay, we're gonna close our work session at 7:45 PM.
Do you have a bathroom break before our regular meeting?
Yeah,
Is that
shall we
doable,
take a
please?
restroom
Like,
break?
really fast?
Yeah, take a stretch break, seventh
five?
inning stretch. Go ahead, take 5 minutes.
All right.
Okay, so now we're gonna start, we're gonna convene our business meeting. We're gonna convene at 7:48 PM. So start with our roll call. Chair, Irby Dominguez, present. Board Vice Chair, Jean McCloskey.
Present.
Board Secretary Treasurer, Janelle Lewis.
Present.
Board Member Rebecca Leho.
Present.
And Board Member Frank Maynard, who is absent. Okay, so let's start with our Pledge of Allegiance. If we could all stand. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We have our land acknowledgement. So every community owes its existence and vitality to generations from around the world who contributed their hopes, dreams, and energy to making the history that led to this moment. Some were brought here against their will. Some were drawn to leave their distant homes in hope of a better life. And some have lived on this land for some generations, for more generations than can be counted. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. We begin this effort to acknowledge what has been buried by honoring the truth. In Central Oregon, we are standing on the ancestral lands of the Wasco, Warm Springs, and Paiute people. We pay respects to their elders past and present. Okay. Number 4, adoption of the agenda.
I have a proposed amendment to the agenda. I wanted to add a number, I guess 13A somewhere, to discuss pickleball. I brought it up, I think 2 or 3 meetings ago. It was one of the activities lost in the mix that we were helping with, along with those open gym nights, with the health department. So I just wanted to add that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as modified with the addition of, what was it? Pickleball?
Pickleball, but I
Pickleball.
wasn't sure on here, the numbering goes from 8, 9, 3, 10, 11, 12, 13. What was going on there? So I got confused. That's why I paused.
Yes,
Okay.
we have 14A.
Okay.
Okay. So do we have to vote on that?
It
To
just,
adopt
when we
that agenda,
move to
or-
adopt the agenda.
I'll
as
second it.
amended.
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All opposed? It's not here, so, okay. I guess we just note that Frank isn't here to vote. Okay, 5, correspondence. So patron comment cards, emails, and other communications regarding the MAC operations. So who we have first?
Well, first we have,
So correspondence is just gonna go through what's in your packet.
Right.
So in your packet, board members, is in the Oregon Government Ethics Commission preliminary staff report and order of dismissal for Courtney Sneed. So you can see the preliminary review report. And then so you have the report from the Oregon Government Ethics Commission staff. And then you have testimony, written testimony provided by Courtney Sneed. And then the order of dismissal in your packet. You also have the next thing is the Chamber of Commerce Halloween contest results. Our staff worked really hard to do a pirate theme. We were not winners in 2025, but you can see that there's a picture of 2 of us who were not on the lifeguard chair at that moment, standing in the lobby with our pirate costumes on. The next item in your correspondence is the preliminary review staff report for the Oregon Government Ethics Commission as it relates to Gene McCloskey. And I believe that they held their meeting on Friday.
So I will say, yes, Friday was the hearing, and I was able to attend via the power of Zoom, and all charges were dismissed. There will be a formal letter coming. We'll include it in next month's board packet.
Was that on everyone that had a ethics complaint filed against them, like mine? And
Yes,
everything
yes,
else?
they
Okay,
listed each and every board member in the dismissal.
perfect.
And then the last item in your correspondence is an email. When we were
I don't think it was a day that we were typically closed. A couple of folks that were visiting from Ellensburg, Washington came in and staff gave them a tour and had a conversation about pool operations. It was someone from the city and someone from the county, and they were trying to decide if they wanted to do a special district or if it should be housed within the city or the county. So we had a conversation about that. And this is just an email they sent as a follow-up. And that's all the correspondence in your packet.
Oh, I see. I jumped way ahead. Yes, I
Sorry.
did. I was ready to get to it. Okay. All right. So now we're going to talk about visitors select section. This is our public comment. So we do have a few, and we have some people on Zoom.
Two on Zoom.
Two on Zoom. I don't want to forget Susan, and who else is on there?
We have
Another Susan and Susan, I think.
Oh, two Susans. I'll take it. Right here. Thank you, ma'am. So, okay, so we will start with our public comment. And since the last one I got was from Debbie Stinson, you're up, Debbie.
So my name is Debbie Stinson, and I want to make my verbal complaint into a written complaint. I didn't see how to do that on the website. I talked with Courtney about my complaint this week. She was very gracious, very kind, but I see some concerns. So I'll read my complaint. I had a terrible experience with the drone operator at the pool November 12th, 2025, approximately 7:30 a.m. to 7:35 a.m. Sorry. He wanted to run his drone during our Misfit the Beast class, and we were not told about it until we were already in the water getting started. One of the lifeguards came over, gave us an option if we wanted to be in it. I said, no, thank you. My adult daughter, Brooklyn, also said, no, thank you. We moved ourselves kind of towards the other end of the pool so we wouldn't be with the rest of the class. Our instructor supported us by reiterating that the two of us did not want to be filmed. Then the drone operator came up to me and told me that if I wanted to opt out of the drone video, that I needed to raise my hand every time I saw his drone go over my head. I told him, no, I am paying for this class and I'm not able to do that today. I told him, take a picture of me and then you will know to edit me out of any of the photos. He refused to take a picture of me. All this time I'm in the pool, the class is around me trying to get started. I didn't believe I needed to raise my hand practically all class. And so I got out of the pool to leave. And then he decided to walk over to us. And I explained again. I told him that I paid for this class and that I shouldn't have to raise my arm every time his drone flew over my head, or nor should I even need to be knowing where his drone was. We were working with dumbbells, and that was practically impossible to do that through the whole class. I also said that I don't need to give my personal reasons to my entire class about why I don't want to be in his drone video. He then at that point decided to not film the class, but then he sat at the tables right where the swimmers exit to the locker rooms the entire time during the class. I was uncomfortable walking in front of him after class, so me and my daughter exited behind the slide out into the lobby to get into the locker rooms. This man has said some terrible things on Facebook, threatening businesses and people. I do not feel safe with him having video footage of me during a class I have paid for. I went to Courtney later in the day and she made a verbal complaint to her. She was very kind and listened to my complaint. I asked where written permission had been given to him and she said she didn't have it. She said she wanted to give him a chance to do the right thing. And so unless another person spoke up about being uncomfortable about him filming, she wasn't going to ask him to stop. Therefore, I am here today to turn my verbal complaint into a formal written complaint. I don't see how to do that. I guess I said that already. So I'm giving this to you as my written complaint. I want to make, okay, great.
Thank you, Debbie.
There's some things on Facebook that that's why I didn't look at.
Okay.
Thank you, Debbie, for letting us know.
Yes. Okay, Sheila Fabian.
I'm Sheila Fabian, and well, I just wanted to thank her for coming forward with that too. I know it's probably tough. I also wanted to just say a couple of things and thank people that there's a lot of people that do support the pool and the situations that they have, because I've gotten a lot of people on Facebook that have tried to attack me and things, you know, saying I'm personally attacking people and this and that. That has nothing to do with it. There's a lot of people that really support the pool and a lot of people that donate a lot of money for the pool. And even though I might not attend certain events at the pool, like the MAC fundraiser, I still support the pool. It's just I don't like some of the things that are going on at the pool right now. And so a couple of things I wanted to address too was I read the letter to the editor, and I have no idea about Courtney's home life or anything. And so I did see that her husband had a stroke, and that's awful. And I'm very sorry about that. I had no idea about that actually. And so some of the things I was reading, I feel like people are taking personal attacks, and that's not the case at all. At least for me personally, because I don't even know any of you guys really. So I was just kind of disappointed with some of the things that I read. And I know you guys up here on the board have also felt like you've been attacked. And I feel like we should have a right to say how we feel if things are going on that we don't think are okay and that we're concerned about. And so being attacked when we do say something, and I'm talking for you guys too, it seems a little ridiculous. Like if we could just compromise so tonight, actually, with everybody talking, people were actually able to say some of their ideas. And I was actually excited to see some different applicants trying to apply for that position. But I thought it was so neat that people could say their ideas, because at some of the meetings, nobody's been able to ever say anything. I mean, you can't even ask a question. And so I just wanted to point that out. And that's about all I have to say.
Thanks, Sheila.
We have Jessica.
Hello, my name is Jessica Stinson. And I just wanted to thank the board for opening the pool during some recreation hours with this new opening. It's been really nice to go after work and actually have the pool open after working hours. And I also wanted to thank you guys for approving the trial of the evening fitness classes. I understand that was on a trial basis. And so I just wanted to come and give some feedback on that and just request that you take the time to let that grow, to really see that it's a class that people would go to and to help get the word out that it's available. Personally, for me, I'm someone who wants to come to the pool, who wants to have a membership for the pool. A year and a half ago, I did have a membership to the pool. With it being closed over the summer, I said, please don't renew my membership. And then with the pool reopening in October, I was there the first evening it was open, but I decided just to pay per visit to see how often I got there. Because after it being closed so long, people really have to rearrange their schedules, make it a new normal to know that the pool's open. In that time, I joined a bowling league. We bowl on Friday nights. I can't go to the pool on Friday nights. And then like with with November happening, next week, the pool was supposed to start having Tuesday and Thursday offerings in the evening. And so I had considered, oh, maybe now's my chance to get my membership again. And I'm like, you know what? This is still a new normal. I'm still trying to see how often I can get here. I'm going to keep paying per time. And I'm really glad I did, because the next day it was announced that the pool's closed until the heater thing can be fixed. And so just please give time for people to make that new normal happen, and to recognize that, like for me coming from Warm Springs, it's not just a membership commitment or a maintenance commitment, but it's a time commitment to get there and a gas commitment to get there. And then I just wanted to thank you guys. I know that a lot of us have been coming to these meetings and saying, use social media, get communication out there. And I do see more Facebook postings. And I just want to thank you guys for your efforts in that. And just encourage you, maybe instead of just the post, the pool was closed for so long, like you guys don't come up in my algorithm anymore. Like if I want to see your post, I have to go to your page and find you. And so maybe doing some of those tricks to get out in people's algorithms again, like posting to the stories, tagging people who come, doing some of those young things like the pool's open to 6 to 7 now, different things like that, to and maybe get on Instagram where there's more of a younger crowd.
Thank you. Okay, we have Christy Abbey.
Hello, my name is Christy Abbey, and I am a taxpayer in this district and also a city council member in Metolius. I only bring that up just because I do understand what it's like to be on a board. I want to address the board tonight with my research and thoughts on what the qualities the new board member you are seeking should have. So I did some research. It's way too long to go all the way through, but I'll hit the high spots and give you a handout. So special district board members in Oregon are responsible for the governance and policy making of the district and are expected to serve the best interests of the community they represent. They have a fiduciary duty to the public and must operate within the powers granted by the Oregon revised statutes. And I know that you guys know these things. I'm just bringing these to the top of mind because in my way of looking at a situation, I found out the other day that I'm analytical. I want to get all the facts and then I want to make my decision. So if I was to be voting on this right now, if it was going to be an elected, I would be doing all this. So I'm just sharing with you my method. So the governance and policy, setting direction, policy making, adopting rules of procedure. And then in the area of financial management and oversight, budget approval and oversight, funding and rates, financial accountability. Management and personnel, hiring and supervising the general manager, executive director, and evaluating performance. And personnel policy. And then as far as transparency and accountability, conducting public meetings, maintaining records, adhering to ethics laws, and representing the community. Individual board members have no authority to act on their own or direct staff without the official delegation of power from the board as a whole. All official actions require a public vote by the majority of the entire membership. And I know that, these are not things that are new to any of you, but just things to be thinking of as to whether a candidate is ready for that. And I feel like when you're going to be on a board, I know when I was became a elected official, I did not know everything that was involved. And I know some of these people have counted the cost a little more than others or know cost a little more than others. So with all of that in mind, I feel that Trudy Haugen or Cora Holliman would be ideal candidates. They have attended meetings, done research, and found areas that needed correction and brought that to the attention of the board. In many cases, the board has taken positive action and corrections. I truly thank both the board and Waves of Change for their corrected areas. Both of these women have the best interest of the taxpayers and community in mind as a foundation of their efforts. They are smart and tenacious in staying course to ensure that the board is following Oregon law, budget law, and their own policies. In addition, they are listening to the community and working to let the board and management know areas of concern. In the counsel of many, there is wisdom, as the Bible says in Proverbs. Both Trudy and Cora have the skills needed to ask the hard questions and give the answers needed. So anyway.
Thank you.
Has a little bit more. Thank you. Like I said, I know that you know that there's one for.
Okay.
Well, this will be good since we'll have our other meetings.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
have to go, this is what I'd be thinking of, so.
Thank you.
Trudy Haugen.
For the record, Trudy Haugen. I'm not coming up tonight with a script, and I'm coming up with something that's very uncomfortable for me. So I'm not allowed to talk about my employment at the MAC. I had a legal clause for my thank you for all that I had done there that I wasn't allowed. I'm not allowed to speak, which is fine. But before I even came to a board meeting, I contacted the executive director and I made sure that it was appropriate for me to come. She told me I was a taxpayer and that as a taxpayer, it was totally appropriate for me to come. The last two things, well, there's been a couple times that the paper has referenced employees. I was like, how does the paper even know that I was an employee there? I didn't talk about it when I spoke. I didn't, I don't know. I don't think there was anything that happened that was horrible when I was a staff member. I mean, I think that's why anyway, whatever. I know a lot about personnel. I know a lot about managing companies. I know a lot about what happens when you're in that top position. Targeting 4 people when you are, one person, some people, 4 people, but in your board packet, you have 2 employees that you're talking about that former employees. When can you talk about former employees? I'm not sure. The only second former employee that was involved with any of this has not even touched this project for months. Also in your packet, it says that the former executive director was fired. Can you tell me when you legally can say someone was fired when you are in that position? I don't think you can. So I'm saying you're the bosses, and those articles, I don't know if you get to review that stuff before they go out in public, but it might be a good idea for your liability. I mean, I'm not doing nothing. My skin's tougher than tough. And this community knows me, and this community knows that I'm not going to go out and celebrate when someone's had a stroke. I don't do things like that. But you know what? You can insinuate. I mean, when you're talking about 4 people and I'm the only one that's a former employee that people know, and you're talking about
Trudy.
celebrating. Anyway, and that drone guy, I warned you about him.
Thank you,
I
Trudy.
warned you.
Okay. Cora.
Cora Holloman, for the record. I kind of put this down because I wasn't sure if I was going to speak tonight, and I will be honest, I did not know about Debbie's interaction before she just said it. So, but I do know that at the last meeting, you all, as board members and on the MACRD Facebook page, absolutely knew about the situation with that gentleman and the concern that some mothers in the community had about if that was, my kid in 2nd grade swim lessons, would that be permitted? And you had a board member, Frank, who's not here, say, well, it's the law. If you're in a public place, you can just be photographed. And if you look at your own policies, you have your patron rules and regulation policy, section 3.4 talks about photography and videography. As a board member, I believe that you guys should have seen that coming up. You should have known that issue was open you did. Your spouses were complaining about it on Facebook, so everybody knew. You should have came prepared and knowing your own policy and knowing that permission was given to him by your executive director. You should have known what your IGA says about the photographing and the filming. You should know what your own policies say, and you should know that you have to follow the school district's policy. Now, my kids do not go to school here. My kids are homeschooled, and there's a reason for that. And this is that type of reason, because when you let your kids out of your home, they are in the hands of people who have to follow rules. And when you have a government board that is so flippant with making their person that they are responsible for be a responsible person, this is the type of thing that happens. And I'm so sorry that that happened to Debbie. And I will say I never planned to speak about this situation, because if you've seen what that guy does on Facebook, like, it's not, I did not want to speak on it. And I am not one to, my name is on your OGET complaints. I'm sorry, Jean. It's not, none of that's personal, but I'm not someone who is afraid to say the thing that needs to be said, but that needs to be said. And you guys, I mean, come on, that is a very basic thing. People should not be afraid to come into your facility on top of all of the other issues. And then there's also the professionalism of what your executive director is writing in the newspaper, putting in her OGET complaints. I don't know how things are personally perceived, but I can tell you that as a community member, this board has held me to a very high standard of what I say, how it's backed up, and how professionally I represent myself and my concerns, when really the only qualification I should have is that, hey, this is a concern. So that's not being required of your highest executive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I think all we have left is our Zoom. I think Susan, we have two Susans, you said?
And Barbara Abraham has said she'd like to speak as well.
Okay.
So Susan Kuvari, I'm gonna ask her to unmute.
Audio.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
That's getting better.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Susan Kavari. Thank you for allowing me to talk. I just want to take a moment to explain why several of us have raised concerns earlier this summer about the board's minutes and public meetings law compliance, and why the MAC's recent public statements about these complaints being dismissed do not tell the whole story. First, when our group submitted public meetings law grievances, we relied on the meeting minutes that were publicly available at the time. Those minutes were incomplete and did not show how board members voted, which is a requirement under Oregon law. After our complaint was filed, the MAC went back and corrected those same minutes weeks later. Those corrected minutes were then submitted to OGEC as if they were the original record. In fact, Vice Chair Jean McCloskey acknowledged to OGEC in writing on August 25th that the MAC had made after-the-fact corrections to its minutes. That is an important detail the public was never told. The public was never told about the new format created in the minutes as a result of our complaint either. You might ask why the members are counted and their votes are counted by name. There's different formats, but they won't tell you. Second, the MAC's claim that all complaints were dismissed leaves out the key fact that under state law, public meetings law grievances must be filed within 30 days of when a violation occurs, not when the minutes are released and not when the public can first see that something was omitted. Because the MAC does not publish minutes until the following month's meeting, about 30 days later, it's essentially impossible for families and taxpayers to file on time even when a violation clearly occurred. Third, I want to address something that I believe is important for community trust. During this process, Director Sneed publicly referred to our citizen group as Doge. I'll be honest, I found that unprofessional and unnecessary. We were not attacking anyone. We were simply pointing out that required information was missing from the minutes and asking that the MAC follow basic open government rules. And again, even the vice chair acknowledged those corrections had to be made. This is not about attacking the MAC. This is about transparency, accuracy, and rebuilding trust. The people who stepped forward did so respectfully and in good faith. The MAC's public narrative suggesting that complaints were frivolous or unfounded ignores the fact that the MAC fixed every problem we identified, just too late for OGEC to consider them under the strict deadline. Our goal is the same as it's always been: honest governance, accurate records, and accountability that protects taxpayers and families in our community. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Susan. What else do we have, Courtney?
So I don't know, Susan Barker, is that the other one you said that? Oh, it was Susan Kovari. Okay. Awesome. Got it. Okay, so then Barbara is the only other one, and I'm gonna ask her to unmute.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was having trouble getting myself off mute. My name is Barbara Ibrahim. I am from Metolius, Oregon. I'm part of the taxing district. And I did send a letter to the board after the last meeting. One of the points I talked about was my concern with the photography videography rule, or I'm sorry, policy. I think both the policy hasn't been being followed possibly, and also that there is a problem with the policy. Debbie Swenson mentioned that she did ask for the written permission that was given and was told that Courtney didn't have it. So I don't know exactly all about that, what happened there. I did receive an email from Courtney saying that she did give permission, but she didn't specifically say that she gave written permission for the drone activity. So my concern with the policy is that, and I'm going to read it to you guys. Let's see, this is just partway through the paragraph. Taking photos or videos of other patrons without their explicit permission is strictly prohibited. Photography and or videography are not permitted during any instructor-led programs, including MAC classes, unless the instructor or executive director provide prior written authorization. And so I don't feel that the policy works because if the executive director gives written permission, that supersedes the patron's right to be asked if they want their pictures taken. And so it should be either or, not both. I mean, it's not both. The patrons should be able to say yes or no, I don't want my photo taken. However, that's not happening if, to my understanding, if the executive director gives or the instructor gives the written permission. So I believe there are lots of different solutions that could be done if drone footage or other photos are needed, such as having a special free swim for people that want their photo taken or are okay with it, and maybe sign that they're okay with it. But if you're there for a class and you paid for a class and you don't want your picture taken, you shouldn't just have someone showing up taking your picture without your own permission in any way. I just feel it's a problem with the policy. I'd like to see you guys revise the policy. And thank you for considering.
Thank you, Barb.
Thank you.
So I think that's all we have. Okay, so I guess we're gonna move on to number 7, financial reports.
So board members, in your packet, you have the balance sheet as of October 31st. I've just highlighted a few major differences between the current year and the prior year. And I mean, ultimately, I think at this point of the fiscal year and having been closed over the summer, if you look, there's the next 2 reports, I think, tell a more comprehensive story about the financial position of the district. So when you look at the October profit and loss budget versus actual, you can see that property taxes are coming in higher than what we had budgeted for the month of October. That our programs and services revenues are at about 91% of what was budgeted. And that our total income as a result is about $5,000, $6,000 more than what was originally budgeted for the month of October. You can see that program personnel has exceeded what was originally budgeted for the month of October. And we have a savings in facilities and administration. And so as a result, personal services was over about $600.
Hey, Courtney.
Yes.
On the property taxes, I know the month numbers compared to our budget are higher, but compared to October of last year, did you have a comment on those numbers and the differences?
I looked at the difference
'Cause it's
over
pretty
last
big.
year.
It's like half on the one.
Yeah, and part of it is the timing of when people pay their property taxes. So November is really the month to look at for property taxes. October can be, I mean, it just depends on how early people choose to pay, and most people don't choose to pay their property taxes early. So I think the more telling number on property taxes is going to be November's collections, because that's the bulk of when those revenues come in. So going back to the expenses side, no, that's okay. Ask questions if you have them. We were at about 80% of budget for materials and services. So our expenses were about $6,500 less than what was budgeted. And then you can see that in the debt fund, we were over, our actuals were over what was originally budgeted. Now, when you look at the July to October budget versus actuals, so that's taking all of the actuals since the beginning of the fiscal year through October 31st, our income is higher than what we expected, about 126% higher than what we originally expected. And then our expenses are lower than what we expected. And so essentially that's what we want to see as we make it through the fiscal year, that our revenues are higher and our expenses are lower, because that's how we build that ending fund balance. I did include this month, and I'm trying to think about how to include information for you every month that dives a little bit beyond the surface of our regular financial reports. And so you'll see in your packet, this is what a month-end reconciliation looks like when we're looking at the funds that came in for activities through our ActiveNet registration system. We're paying about 7% fees on our gross revenue. So we brought in gross revenue through ActiveNet about $10,385, and we paid $717 in fees, essentially on that revenue. And you can see by activity or program how much revenue came in and then what the fees were associated with it. And then when you move over to the right side of the spreadsheet, you can see how we reconcile what comes in through that registration system with our QuickBooks financial system. And there are differences. So for example, the contracted swim lessons, you can see that we show $6,000 of revenue in QuickBooks, but not in ActiveNet. Part of that is we are not putting those funds through ActiveNet because we're getting charged 7%. So when we have things that are bigger, a bigger number like 6,000, and that's a bad example because we transfer that from deferred revenue in QuickBooks. But we're trying not to run things that cost over $1,000 through ActiveNet anymore because of how much those fees are. So I just wanted you to see this is something that happens on a monthly basis and then an annual basis as well, so that we can demonstrate that the money that we brought in is there.
So Courtney, as an example, explain to the board under daily admissions, that $162 difference
Yeah,
on the
so
QuickBook adjustment.
Yep. So for daily admissions, we do add in. So for example, we have a partnership with the fire department that if someone drops in to swim, we bill the fire department for it. So those revenues don't show up in ActiveNet, but they show up in QuickBooks because we invoice the fire department through QuickBooks. Same thing, if a patron uses a credit for a daily admission in this example, it doesn't come through as a revenue, but we run a report and then we add those funds to QuickBooks because we show that as a revenue when it happens.
So just as an FYI to the board, that was one of the things that drove me crazy as I was trying to review the financials every month. And yeah.
How come we don't change the company's ActiveNet? How come?
We have shopped around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
why don't
looked
we-
into it. But it's like a huge undertaking to switch which company we use for one. You have to buy that whole
Software,
program and
yeah.
train on the software.
But they're all
Online.
charging these fees.
And they're
all
all
of our,
doing it, yeah.
all of the businesses, some of them are passing those fees on to the consumer. Like if you're going to use a credit card now,
You
Yeah.
have to,
you're going to have to pay the extra percentage fee.
or like giving a discount if you pay cash.
Although there are laws in Oregon now too about pay equity between the types of payments you use. You have to make it available to everybody. Because we had talked at one point about maybe we don't take credit cards anymore. We just do cash and check. As a public entity, we can't do that.
Yeah,
So.
Okay.
And then the last report in your financials is the cash flow analysis. And I wanted to point out, I caught an error that I made on prior ones, and I want to call it out because it's pretty significant to the positive. I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it. So down here at the bottom, this summarizes this spreadsheet. And on the top, you can see resources with the tax anticipation loan. I had it as resources without that included.
Okay.
And yet I had the payoff included in expenses. So you have to have it in the revenues and the expenses for it to balance. So when I fixed that, it brings our estimated ending fund balance to $113,000 at the end of the fiscal year, which I really am hoping pans out because that would be our largest carry forward in a long time. It would help provide some of that financial stability. I think it reflects a right sizing of our expenses to our revenues. And it also reflects the difficult decision to close this summer because of cash flow. So I just wanted to point that out as an error that I caught from prior reports. And that is my financial report.
All right. Okay, so now we're number 8, consider approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, do we talk about A and B, or is this all of it right there? We don't have to, we already talked about it. Yeah, it's all, okay. I second the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Do we note that Frank's not here or nope?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, just 4-0.
okay.
You noted that
Right.
when you called roll call. You
Yeah.
forgot to say I'm here.
Number 9, consider appointment to vacant board of directors position effective December 15th, 2025, immediately following the business meeting.
So I'll make the motion that we table that until we can arrange a special meeting with all board members present.
I second that motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You seconded, Irby?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor of that? Okay, now this says number 3.
Yeah, it should be 10.
Okay. Okay, consider approval of revised policy 2023-01, inclement weather and environmental hazards.
It's just adjusted to have the 150 that we're
Yeah.
going.
Yes, so all
Right,
the.
this is a smoke one, right?
Yes, so all the changes to the proposed revisions to the policy are included in red. So if you go to page 2 of the policy, it shows that at 100, staff would take a couple of steps, including communicating that if it reaches 150, that the pool will be a safe indoor space. And then when it reaches 150, we would track that patron usage. So those are the two, and then we did update to it. You can't really see it because I couldn't do it in red, but we updated this graphic to say 150.
So do we have to make a motion on that?
Yes,
Consider the
sir.
approval, okay. The motion. Consider the approval. Yes, I second that motion, or
Who made the motion? I didn't hear it. Becky?
I'll make the motion to approve the revised policy of the inclement weather and environmental hazards policy.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Number, which would be 11, right?
Mhm.
Consider approval of engagement with SDAO for consulting services.
Yes.
So board members, you had discussed this at our work session at the last board meeting. You wanted to wait and see what the costs would be. And the cost in the proposal that we received from SDAO is not to exceed $1,900.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
What all,
Yes.
can we look at what that is gonna include?
So that includes an initial review and assessment of the executive director's current job description, employment agreement, and wage study that was completed in March of 2025. And then an initial assessment of those would be provided to the board and any preliminary recommendations that the consultant has. And that would happen at your December work session. And then based on feedback that you guys provide at that work session, the consultant would prepare a final recommended revision for the job description and the employment agreement If you want to do a new wage study, then they would manage that process. And then that would all be brought to you in January. And then it's also including an advisory opinion to the board on whether you should negotiate a new employment agreement with the current director, initiate a recruitment for a director, or do something different. And then depending on the work, what you guys discuss then, it may go to a February work session or it may be done. So those are the deliverables, I suppose is the word I'm looking for.
And all that for 1,900? Wow, that's pretty
So
good.
is that, so just to like pull it out more specifically, but is that, it says draft revisions and wage study recommendations, so is that redoing the wage study?
If the
Just
board wants
clarifying
to
for the
do that.
public.
So he'll come and talk, the consultant will come and talk with you in December and you guys will give direction on whether you want a revised wage study done.
Okay.
And he'll give you his opinion, perspective, on the existing.
I look at it as we're getting a second opinion on the controversial study that was done earlier this spring.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah. And for $1,900, it's
Mhm.
pretty inexpensive, I think. Okay. So somebody needs to make a motion. We need to make a motion to approve that.
I'll make the motion to approve the consideration, no. I'll make the motion to approve the engagement with SDAO for consulting services, not to exceed the $1,900.
And can you include directing the executive director to sign the agreement? Because that's how they prepared it, rather than having the board chair. Sorry.
Okay, that's no problem. I make the motion that we improve the engagement letter with SDAO for consulting services not to exceed $1,900 and for the executive director to sign that engagement.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Add the swim team.
Yes. Consider approval, number 12. Consider approval of facility use agreement with the Madras swim team.
So board members, you'll recall that your last work session, you gave direction on lane fees, facility use for swim meets. And I went back and worked with the MST board and coaches on that. And so the agreement that's before you includes that direction. There was no changes based on that.
Are they still considering changing the way that they're doing things and handing it over, or they decided not to do that at all ever?
So we had a couple meetings to discuss what it would look like if the Madras swim team came back under the MACRD and was no longer a separate 501c3, and their board decided not to move forward with that and to remain separate.
I just want to take a minute to review this. It was the swim meets that we didn't change any of this verbiage.
Oh, no, it was changed to reflect the board's direction. So it's on page
4 of 8, is it?
I was looking at 5,
3.2.
section 4.
Isn't that where we're like
For
giving
swim
them
meets.
one free
There we
swim
go.
meet?
Payment for swim meets, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So the district will waive facility use fees for one swim meet per season.
Mhm.
And then outside of that, they will pay consistent with the fees established in the 509J intergovernmental agreement.
Thank you.
So that's just saying that it's the same for MST as it is for the high school swim team?
For swim meets, yes.
I make a motion that we approve the facility use agreement with the Madras swim team.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 You guys keep hearing voices?
There's people
Looks
outside.
like it's-
talking.
They're
Oh,
still
they're
talking
talking
out there.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
hearing stuff
okay.
like
There
on
they
the
are.
other side of the wall.
Okay, I did too. Okay. All right, executive director report.
So board members, in your packet, you have the report. Just a couple things to highlight. The Mac Bash fundraiser was on Friday night, and they confirmed that it's the most money they've ever raised without a match. It was $13,000 or $14,000 raised for scholarships. The other piece that I'm excited to share is we have 9 candidates for lifeguards. It's the largest lifeguard class we've ever had. Our number one recruiting tool were our existing employees. So that's exciting. We will have our final training days on Tuesday and Wednesday, November 25th and 26th from 8:30 to 4:30. If any of you want to stop by and see what that looks like. And then test out day is Wednesday.
Do we have, do we have names of the kids or you can't talk about that?
I have names of the kids.
Okay.
I'm one of them. I'm going to be fully certified instead of just shallow. So I'm one of the 9.
Of those 9 candidates, how many are completely new to the program?
All of them,
All of
except except for me.
And did they all come out of swim teams?
So I shouldn't say that. So 2 of them are currently deck attendants and swim instructors. So 6 of them are completely brand new. And one of those 6 is on swim team.
Really? Only one of the 6?
Yes.
The others are just good swimmers that enjoy.
Yes, and we're
Okay.
very excited to have them when swim team season starts because we have quite a few that are currently employed that are on swim team,
And these are high school kids, right?
Yeah.
You said, okay,
with the exception of me.
well, you could be in high school.
So, well, thanks for that, Ernie. So really excited. It's a great group of kids. Definitely just doing
That's
a great
good
job.
news.
And, you know, it's a 35-hour training course, and it includes a lot of book work and first aid, CPR, and first aid, and having to do lots of in-water skills with rescues, getting our 125-pound dummy off the bottom of 11 feet deep water. So it's part of the challenge of recruiting lifeguards, honestly, is the barrier of getting that training and being able to do all of the skills within the 32 hours that you have. So we're really excited to have so many.
I have a question, and I hope we can talk about it right now, but when you sit in the chair, I mean, you're salary paid. Are you also paid then an additional? So I just wanted to clarify that, because in my mind, I thought that is not the case. It's not that you're being paid your
Not
salary.
being paid double.
It's like another hat that you put on during the day. It's not.
And honestly, it's fair for someone to say that I could be doing something more useful for the district.
Absolutely.
And I agree.
Absolutely.
And if I wasn't on the chair, the pool wouldn't be open. So that's kind of the challenge that we have, is balancing that, because we don't have enough people working in the mornings, and that's when most of the people are using the pool.
Right. Okay.
So
Thank you for clarifying that for me anyway.
So with this, potentially getting new lifeguards on board, that will be alleviated.
in the evenings and weekends, yes, I
Not in the
will,
mornings?
not in the mornings.
No.
Not yet. We're still looking for some adults to go through the program. Right now, everyone who works in the mornings is lifeguard certified. So we try to make it so that I'm off the chair as much as possible. And if I'm not on the chair, then marketing's not getting done. So we're trying to balance everyone getting to do their jobs with also having to balance being in the chair.
And it's hard when people call out sick.
Well, yeah, we've had quite a few illnesses.
Sounds like you're sharing it tonight.
Yeah, and everybody does share.
Yeah.
An update on the domestic boiler replacement. Our contractor's trying to come up with creative solutions to get something interim put in while we wait for this final thing. So someone came out today and was looking at it, and they're gonna come back tomorrow and try and figure something out. Because it's still not out of customs, this piece of equipment we're waiting for.
So where is it stuck at?
It's stuck in somewhere in Indianapolis, somewhere in Indiana. It's on state side. It just
Stuck.
can't get past there. I did communicate with the state, and I included this email in your packet before I made the decision to close. And they wrote back and said, it's not a closure violation for us to not be operational, but they recommend we wait. So, I mean, we could say, okay, we're going to reopen and not have hot showers. And I think we'll just see if they can get this figured out by Friday, which is the deadline that they kind of gave themselves. I also want to bring to your attention that I've been working with the superintendent of the school district on.
I'm still on the domestic boiler replacement and the
Yes.
contractor. So what kind of recourse do we have for damages for loss of use of our facility because of their not getting all of their equipment on site?
Yeah, we're looking at that.
Are we?
We're gonna have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I just find it totally unacceptable that that contractor would start the project with not all of the equipment in hand.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah. you
Absolutely.
Said you can't run a boiler without
That's-
the vent, like it's like,
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
cannot do it.
And who is our contractor on this project?
Severson Plumbing.
Severson or Severson? I pronounce it Severson.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
That's just how I pronounce it.
yeah. Okay, I'm off it now.
Okay. Board member reports and highlights. Are we there?
I'm still, I'm
Oh, you're still
sorry,
going?
I'm still going.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring your attention.
Oh,
We don't have, we have an agreement from before the building was built on parking. The agreement is to some extent invalid because the parking lot that was designed and agreed upon is not what was built. And so, and the way that it's structured is very odd. So all the electrical conduit and the lighting in the parking lot and all of the landscaping irrigation is tied to our systems, but the school district owns the parking lot. It's on their land. And so our attorneys have been working on an agreement that we're going to bring to each of our boards. Just want you to be aware that that's something that's probably going to come to you in December. And it's recently been brought to my attention that I'm supposed to submit a potential conflict in writing to my board. If there's a potential conflict, I don't believe that there's a conflict in this situation. The conflict for me is when I'm sitting in my school board seat and voting on something. And I will be recusing myself from that decision at the school board. So just bringing that to your attention, put it in writing, spoke it into the record. Wanted to share with you that our safety committee meets monthly and we identified a number of things. I think that there's a perception that, well, let me back up. As I was reading through old minutes, I'm not bringing you details about operational things that happen like they used to. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll start including these things in my executive director report. So what you have here is sort of a summary of some things that have been going on at the pool that our safety committee identified, and a couple of small projects that we've completed from a maintenance perspective. And I'm going to do my best to try and bring this kind of thing to you in my written report every month, just to keep you in the loop. To circle back to a question, Vice Chair, that you asked last meeting, we sent our RFP for auditors to 173 potential auditors. And then lastly, our patron participation data, I went in and updated it through November 13th. And you can see that that 4 to 5 o'clock PM time has gone up since the last time you saw this data. We've been pretty busy from that 4 to 5 time. And also wanted to show you our average number of open swim participants by day. And really our largest open swim has been on a Saturday. We had 78 and we could have gone to 80 with the number of staff we had.
That was cutting it right close, huh?
So yeah, that was me at the front desk, definitely keeping count. And so we'll see if it continues to grow as we get into the colder months, because it's a really nice place to hang out when it's cold outside, because that 40% humidity and 83 degrees. And then lastly, I added in just open swim participation by date and type. So you can see that the number of drop-ins from in-district versus out-of-district, membership and punch card participants, and then by Saturday, like specific dates, Saturday or Sunday. And that is my executive director report.
Could you touch a little bit more on marketing work that you have going on right now? Because you mentioned that a minute ago, just any.
Yeah, I mean, so part of Natalia's role is she's our marketing lead. So she develops all of the flyers, all of this, she manages the scoreboard ads that go up. Everything we post to social media goes on to Facebook and Instagram. We've talked about trying to do short videos of staff doing things like lifeguards saving Wilson, which is our dummy, or different things like that. We've been so short staffed that we just haven't had the time to do the fun, creative things that our team wants to do. So the goal is that to get that algorithm going, like what one of the speakers was talking about, is to really try and do some fun things. And there's risk in doing fun things and different things that are unique, because then when you do new things, sometimes it causes other challenges. So what I would say is a couple of things too I wanted to share with you, just one briefly. I was at a training with my school board hat on, and one of the things that I brought back a lot more things for my job than I did for being on school board, is that when visitors come for visitor section and speak, that at the next meeting, maybe we start visitor section with a summary of how follow-up happened for that. And so that we can continue to close that loop. So I wanted to mention that as well as I was thinking about it.
That maybe also entertain answering some of the questions that might be asked that we can actually have answers for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could I interject? I had a community member who uses the pool contact me and was questioning whether or not whoever is facilitating the Facebook page, can you not get comments? Can you make it so that there are no comments? Or
Just make a
just
post.
make a post
Oh.
and then not allow for people to make comments? Because
Instagram.
So that's a policy that the board could choose to adopt to shut comments off of all district, but it has to be
You guys know what I'm
consistent.
talking about? Yeah. Just
So if we did.
when you're making a positive, trying to make a positive post and then it does, people go into reading them and it can get very upsetting to some people.
So I can do some research and see if other districts have done this. There's pros and cons to doing it. Some folks may feel that it's a violation of freedom of speech.
Right.
If it's done for every single post and it's just a consistent blanket, as long as it's consistent, I believe that it's legal. But that's something that I can do some research with SDAO on and try and figure out and bring it back to the board if you'd like to talk about it.
I just told her I would definitely bring it up too.
Is there interest in me doing some research on that? Okay.
I would think so, especially.
Well,
when
and
you
I
just-
think if you post like, an email, like to contact us if you have questions on the post or something on each one. Or if they do have an important comment about it, they can reach out to someone or a way to get a hold of someone, even if they can't comment. It kind of mitigates that.
I'm thinking like the posts that are, hey, open swim this
Exactly.
Saturday.
And some of them were
There
like
doesn't
that.
need to be comments.
It doesn't need it, and you don't.
Yeah.
And people will always go down and read comments. I mean, it just kind of goes with it.
Are we currently paying to boost any of our things like we were doing during election?
We have not done that recently.
And then my other question was about the cost of, I know in the past we did like a big booklet mailer, but to some people's point, like even like a little postcard or something that's lower cost, sending out a general mailer reminding people that we're open, or sending out like the winter hours that go through February or something.
We don't have budget authority in our advertising line items to do that, but I can look at the budget and see if we can have savings elsewhere that could then backfill that.
And yeah, like not a bat mailer, but like even a QR code link to our website with the current hours or
What
something.
about, I know for us, when we advertise for the company I work for, we do a lot through KTVZ, and then they can target clickbaits or click ads and
How much does that
things
cost?
like that. I can find out for you.
Probably. Seems a lot.
Yeah, so that.
You're on the radio a lot. Herbie.
Yes.
And then my other question is, do we currently have a schedule of how often we review policies? Like, I know for my residency policies, which there are a million of, for my residents, we pull up like 3 every time we have a quarterly meeting so that we don't have to do them all at once a year. We just filter through them, and every year each policy gets reviewed. And given that the drone policy came up multiple times today, or like the public photography or whatever in general, I just wondered if, I know we just reviewed our air quality policy, but usually we're reviewing them when an issue comes up, and we used to review them, it seemed like, on a regular basis.
Yeah, I mean, we could put them on a rotating basis. Normally, the policies that you all review happen during that pre-budget process, because then they inform how the budget is developed. But for policies that aren't included or affected into the budget, there's not really a schedule for reviewing them. So that's something that we can certainly look at putting together an annual schedule or biannual schedule of reviewing policies.
I think it's helpful for the public, since that's one of our main roles, is reviewing and changing policies. And then I think it's helpful when there's new board members and change in board members over time, that people aren't aware of all the policies. So it's helpful to go over them.
Well, we do a board orientation where we review
It's just a lot of information.
all the things,
Yeah.
but yes. And they're all of our policies are available on the governance website too, if anybody wants to take a look at them.
Just nice to like review them in here, I think, as a group, because
Yeah.
sometimes different people bring up different things when it's in a group setting.
Either change them or bring them up to date.
Yeah.
So what I can do is I can put together a list of all the policies and a proposed schedule for evaluating them, and then bring it to a work session hopefully December, but it might be January.
Okay.
There's
So-
a 13A.
Can I
for the-
ask,
13A.
can I request that you do your board member highlights first and then we go to that?
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to do board member highlights first and then go to your 13A? Or you want
Yeah.
13A first?
No, because she has to go to the bathroom.
Oh.
She has to be here for the
Okay.
other one.
Oh.
Highlights?
The highlights, yeah, the Mac Bash was fun.
It was fun.
It was a lot of
It was a good
people.
time. And Deanna, we bought her red velvet cake. I love red velvet. And man, it was delicious, wasn't it, Grayson? It was delicious. And whoever made the Marion berry pie,
You
oh
got
my
that
God,
one
we
too?
got that one too.
Oh,
You must have hoovered over your bids. I mean,
So we have Grayson more.
oh,
Yeah.
I got the carrot cake cupcakes. They were really good.
yeah.
I think
For
we need
family.
to advertise more.
It was
we were
like, that was
talking
more
about.
people than normal though this year.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe because it didn't go out onto the pool deck, so it seemed more crowded, but there was definitely way more. I've gone every year since I've lived here.
Yeah.
I thought it was more advertised than normal.
Well, this is my first time there. And I thought, man, we're missing quite a few people compared to the events.
I
go
had
to.
invited a friend to go with me and she was going and then had to decline, but she sent a check anyway. So sometimes just word of mouth and people
Yeah.
didn't even know it existed.
Well, I mean, like I brought up to you, you know a lot of farmers, ranchers. I know a lot of farmers, people in the business community. I didn't see a lot of them there.
You got to invite them in, the open
Yeah,
bar. They
that's what I
would be
mean.
there.
Yeah, I mean.
Well, I think it's,
invite people.
they used to use an old mailing list that they had from original donors is who they used to like stick with.
Yeah.
And then it's that like, it's hard to contact people if you're like, how do you get a hold of people? Other than like, is it our job to, call everyone that we know and tell them to come
Sure.
or?
My Facebook posts, Instagram, do it that way. I mean, there's a
Yeah,
lot-
because it was on social media, but like, there's a lot of people off of there now and I'm not really on there.
you call and invite people, like, invite 10 people next year.
Yeah.
Okay, you invite 15 people. You invite 15 people.
But I really thought it was more than normal
Yeah.
this year with the Mac Bash. I don't know about you, Courtney. I went to the Mac Trust did coffee cuppers there too. Courtney wasn't there.
Right.
But I thought it went well
Uh-huh.
having that there. And there were people that didn't, there's still people that don't know the pool's reopened. I have still patients every single day that ask if we're giving pool passes out again. So I give them out like every day.
There's a lot of the older generation that doesn't do the social media.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Like,
wonder
how
if
do we
could
reach
add
this
an
group?
Address Pioneer.
Well,
We are
Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
I'm looking at these ups and downs on the chart here for open swim. And I need to see it.
the Mac Bash was in the Pioneer under the events.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we need to submit like open swims under like, the weekly activity.
Yeah, open swim.
That could be another marketing. I breezed through those the other day.
What about the South Y
Oh, the banner.
banner board?
The Mac is open.
Yeah. Mac is
There you
open.
go.
We weren't allowed to put our advertise. Well, someone commented about how we need to like go put booths. We got like turned away from Saturday market.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tried to, yeah.
And we were at the air
yeah.
show.
We've been told we are
Last
too
year.
political to be in all these places and have a sign at the Y. Frank got really upset because he made a sign during the election for the South Y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want to put it up.
Political.
But I think if it was just our logo and
We're open.
Yeah, we're open. Pool is
Yeah.
open. The Mac is
aquatic
open.
center open.
Yeah.
I can reach out to the chamber and see if.
I mean, they let everyone submit different events going on there. So
Right.
I don't know why you
Like
can't
city
submit our
events.
whole calendar of open swims and hours onto their calendar.
Okay, now we'll move on to pickleball, 13A pickleball. And I will turn that over to Janelle.
Okay, there's a pickleball group that was formerly using the gym space at Bridges 2 days a week through the MAC. And it's one of the rec activities that disappeared. And I think it's the main adult activity that we were doing, other than maybe open gyms for basketball still. I'm not sure. I think there's a gap in this community for adult recreation that is not filled with Jefferson County routes. And this is one activity that was fairly low maintenance, where we were just doing the communicating with the school district. And then people are paying a fee to use the equipment that we have, and then signing a volunteer form to open the gym and close it.
Didn't we have to have staff open and close the gym?
Yes, I think there was, yeah.
So we have two different ways that we approached it. If we did an open gym pickleball, then we have to have staff there. If pickleball club is doing a members only pickleball practice, then volunteers can run it. Because we have all of that, because they've paid for a club membership.
They paid who?
The MAC.
So that's what you're thinking of, making a club, a pickleball club? Is that what you're
So there, yeah, so
proposing?
we have a pickleball club.
Oh, sorry.
That was
I didn't
already
know that.
associated with the MAC, with memberships, and that's how they were able to do member only practices at Bridges High School.
So we paid a yearly membership fee of $50 before.
Yep. And then volunteers can open and close the gym.
Well, that sounds like a good way to run it.
Yeah, but there was how many, 3 courts, and there's 4 per court. There's probably 14 or 15 people there most of the time. It's 4 people per 3 of the court. There's quite a few people that come on a regular basis.
How many do you have on the main floor? 2? And then 1 up on the upper? Do they still have?
No,
an upper?
3 across the lower gym.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Don't they have an upper
We
area?
no, and we only have 3 nets.
Oh,
So it's just
okay.
3 courts. So a couple people sit out. I mean, you get tired anyway because you're playing for a couple hours straight.
Well, I'd be in favor if it's the pickleball club and that they're responsible for unlocking and locking the door, so it's not going to take our limited staff
Correct.
time. Yeah.
And then there are costs associated with it. So it's $50 a month to use the gym. And then any costs for equipment that needs to be replaced. And the staff time to coordinate, fill out the form, do all the things with 509J.
Well, I mean, can we get that cost taken care of by your pickleball club?
Well, that's it. Yeah.
$50 a year, so maybe go up to $53 to cover the cost of the gym. How many members do you guys have? 20?
There's, I think, around 15. A couple people moved out of the area to Redmond to be closer to full-time pickleball courts.
Seriously?
Uh-huh. Yep, I'm dead serious.
Wow.
I would recommend, if the board wants to move in the direction of the MAC coordinating it for the pickleball club, for us to do a cost recovery analysis on the activity and just make sure whatever we charge for that membership fee is going to 100% recover costs.
We talked about a rental fee for the equipment. The main thing we use is the nets. Most people have their own pickleball paddles. There's extra ones in there, but everyone just has their own because they play outdoor in Culver during the summer. And you would really only need that equipment, like paddles and balls, if you were doing a drop-in, which we're not doing. But if you had 15 members in the club and charged $50 a person, that's $750. And we were talking, this is going to be probably not even November at this point, so December through May or something.
And the charge is $50 a month.
6 months.
To the district to use the gym?
Yes.
Well, then we'd be making money.
Well, at this point, even if you had 15 members paying $50 each, that's $750. And then over 6 months, that's $125 a month total that we would be taking in. And it's a $50 a month for the gym fee. So that's giving us a profit or whatever toward overhead, $75. Saying we had 15 members.
I'd be in
Yeah,
favor of it as long as
Yeah.
they're running it and we're not taking away staff times and it's paying for
Right.
itself. Yes.
Pays for itself, why not?
Do we need to make a motion for that or?
Yeah.
Please. Okay. I make a motion that we, somebody else do it. I can't. How do we do it? That we, pickleball, the pickleball club.
We reactivate the pickleball club
Reactivate
and
it.
ensure that it cost recovers at 100%.
I recommend that we reactivate the pickleball club at a cost that it will cover, at a fee that it will cover all the costs to be incurred. Somebody gonna second?
Second,
I will second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, that's a win-win for the community.
Yeah, that's great.
Nobody.
That's another one to
I didn't
add.
know there was a pickleball club. I gotta talk to my neighbor, 'cause she loves pickleball. I can't do it because of my knee. But I'll let her know.
Janelle will probably tell you that they see a lot of ER emergency. room. Senior
I did
citizens.
have an 80-year-old patient that got in
Pickleball.
Yeah.
I have bad knees and they have survived that somehow better than volleyball.
That's one reason I swim.
Yeah, me too. Did swim.
Dang me.
Okay,
So we're done? Is
I
that, are
think
we
that's it.
adjourning?
Okay, we are adjourning our meeting at 9:10 PM.
Perfect.
And we'll wait to see or hear
Hear from Courtney
Courtney
about a
about
special meeting
the
to.
special meeting and
Yes.